Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Wise Guys. Happy Monday, our favorite night of the week. Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler, Cougar Nation around the world. We hope you jump on the stream or join us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Feels like it's been a long time since we've been together.
It does?
Doesn't it? It's like it was a long week.
Weren't we together Saturday night for a basketball game?
Well, yeah, we were, but we were doing different things.
That's right. For this, like it's been a week since we've been
a whole
together
week
doing
since
this
thing's
but
going
we
on.
did do the basketball game Saturday together, so there's that. There's that.
So look, welcome to the Wise Guys officially. Over 6 million YouTube impressions for this show in 2024. We want to double that coming up here in this new year. Presented by BradyPlus, distributed by the Deseret News. Podcast out tomorrow.
That's right. And please subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com, YSGUYS.com. You can watch our past content when you get onto the site. Also, we'd love for you to hit the free subscribe button if you're watching on that YouTube channel. That helps us keep going, and we appreciate it. Already, Rob was the first guy in on the chat.
Good job, Rob.
From Ridgecrest, California. And Debbie from Vernal's checking in. Montana, Ryan from Montana is in. Paul Lacey, happy Monday from Cache Valley. Welcome in, Paul. And Old Zuby, that we love Old Zuby. That is.
Hey, look, Belo's on this. Hey, Belo, Brian Logan will be here co-hosting in a couple of weeks while I'm off for baseball. So, Belo, good to have you checking in.
Yep, great to have you, Belo.
Yeah, we expect that stream to be hopping tonight. There's no football on a Monday night for the first time since what? August?
Oh, and is that our Belo? Brian Velo 7? I don't know.
I think it is.
That's probably
Belo. War number 7.
Yeah.
And he says hi, uncles.
From Ormond, it's got to be. It's got to be our guy, Belo. And John Crowder in from Harriman. Roseville, Dr. Sean Woodland. Roseville, I'm assuming that's Roseville, California, and then right down the road in Pleasanton Hill, California, is Halverson's. So
I like to think, I think my grandson McCann is on the stream.
Yeah.
Hello, Floyd's from Logan.
Maddie's in the house. Hey, that's good stuff. So
yeah,
and Brian says,
yep,
it's me. So there you go.
Bring it on. Wise Guys is presented by BradyPlus. BradyPlus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, service and repairs, over 150 distribution facilities across the country, 6,000 employees. We're thrilled to have BradyPlus be a part of us.
Yep, and Wise Guys is now being distributed by the Deseret News and Deseret.com. Hey, Big Game Bill's already in the house.
Yeah, we got some big stars here tonight.
That's good stuff.
So excited.
DeseretNews.com. We're so glad to have the Deseret News as our distribution partner. It's Utah's newspaper since 1850. You can watch for our content on all of their social media sites as we serve Cougar Nation all over the world. Thanks to Deseret News and to BradyPlus.
Here's what we got on the show tonight. We'll react to the final AP poll and look at the early polls already out for next season. And we'll look at the wild opening weekend schedule of games. There's even some odds out.
Yeah,
it's like football never goes away. We just have to wait a little while.
Spring ball's, so it's everything's year round, really. Yeah. So, hey, and we just mentioned Big Game Bill's already in the house. He's in the green room, but BYU's dynamic duo on special teams, Will Ferrin, Sam Vander Haar, are in the studio tonight. What did it feel like to beat the Utes or pull off that fake punt at Baylor?
Not everyone gets that feeling.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the fun moments on special teams this year with Will and Sam Vander Haar. But Brenda says I have to call him Big Game Bill.
Big Game Bill. Jimmer Fredette on BYU Hoops. How the Cougars have they turned the corner ahead of the big Baylor game? We're also going to ask him to reveal, and he'll be prepared for it, to reveal the 5 most exotic foods he's ever had to eat that he never thought he would eat. Growing up in Glens Falls, New York, now he's traveled the world.
He's lived in China. He's lived in some crazy places.
5 things that he's eaten that he never thought he would.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
And then after Jimmer, baseball coach Trent Pratt joins us, he'll be here in studio. The Cougars are getting ready to scream, play ball.
It's almost that time. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it, but it's almost that time.
So
next week, our Wise Guys Super Bowl special with former Cougars Dennis Pitta and Austin Collie. One won a Super Bowl. Both played in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And they'll set the tone for the Chiefs and Eagles on the Wise Guys Super Bowl special next week. Howard's in from Anchorage, Alaska. There's Alexandria, Virginia. Saratoga Springs, Utah.
Sandy, Utah. Yeah.
All right.
It feels like it's cold here, and then Howard's just like, come on, guys, I'm in Anchorage, Alaska right now. Quit complaining.
Yeah, we'll stop complaining.
In fact, Scott McKay from Drummond, Montana, he's probably colder than we are here too. So
Yeah, there's
it was
Oklahoma.
12 when I went out of the house this morning to go to work. 12 degrees.
It's too cold.
So.
All right, here are the headlines. We're still waiting on the Big 12 football schedule. The ACC's put theirs out tonight. That makes us last.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yep.
The Big 12 likes to just wait, and wait they are. So perhaps next week we'll be able to roll out the schedule.
Spring football begins February 27th. So, and they practice a couple times a week, and it stretches out over 4 to 6 weeks. We should have an announcement on when the alumni game is going to be here coming soon.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I know they've been talking about it. BYU Marketing and the athletic program has been talking about it, so they got some plans to do the alumni game again.
We'll see who's going to quarterback. Hopefully Steve Young comes back.
Yeah.
Throws a few more.
I want to get Jimmy Mack in the house.
Back.
If we can get Jimmy Mack in the house, that would be something.
Yeah.
So.
Big 12 football media days announced this week, July 8th and 9th in Frisco, Texas, the headquarters of the Dallas Cowboys. So they're not doing it at the football stadium. They moved it out to the headquarters where they've got their own in-house football stadium.
Yeah.
Just a little smaller, but home of the Cowboys, that's where media days is.
So, hey, and JL Halverson, he says, to help Blaine out, my name is said like JL, opposite of LJ Martin. So there we go. I appreciate that, JL.
There's San Antonio in the house, Dallas checking in as well.
Yeah, they're ready for them to be down in Texas.
Texas loves the wise guys. We love
that. Hey, Jacob Robinson, BYU's fine nickel and corner, today was added to the East-West Shrine Bowl roster, January 30th, 6 p.m. Mountain Time on the NFL Network.
Be fun to see him play in there with Tyler Batty. Isn't Batty in that East-West Shrine?
Yeah,
or
it should be good. Great opportunity to get in front of NFL guys at that.
Jack Kelly officially announced that he's going to wait on the NFL and return to the Cougars. That happened since we were last together. It's big.
And Caleb Etienne, first team All Big 12 left tackle, he's going to enter the NFL draft. And there was some talk that he would come back. They were investigating whether he could get a waiver and come back. And evidently that's not going the way they wanted to, so he just declared for the NFL. So unfortunately.
Your first team, All Big 12, maybe that's enough.
Yeah, and he's got the size and the length and the footwork and all of that, like I still think his ceiling is way up here, and he's got an opportunity to play in that league for a long time if he keeps working. So
Gerald's in from Fresno. I'll be there for Valentine's weekend with the baseball team, Gerald. So we hope to see you come out and watch BYU play Fresno State here.
Hey, Jim Ferrin's on the chat. So and
get
Will
your questions
just said,
ready.
Oh, great! He's like, and all he said was, "Yay, Will and Sam, the dynamic duo." So there you go, Jim. That's Dad, right? Yeah,
all right.
That's right. I've met Jim. So since I'm a Davis County guy myself, not anymore, but I was.
Hey, Las Vegas, BYU's home away from home, going to host the CFP championship game January 25th, 2027. It'd be a great time for BYU to be there.
Yeah.
Pack that place. So sooner or later, everything's going to Vegas. They've had the Super Bowl. Now they get the championship. I think the Final Four is coming.
Yeah.
It used to be that no one would go because of how things once were, and that is
how many members
table.
Of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are now in that metro Las Vegas market?
I'm not sure, but when I was there, which was 13 years ago, they had like 37 stakes.
Yeah.
In 2 temples. So you're talking
like over 100,000 people,
easily,
right? Like maybe 150,000.
Yeah.
And when BYU plays in Vegas, they take it over.
I know.
So what a great year next year could be for BYU to play in that championship game and just own the place. That would be fun.
Yeah, but then they need to own it a second year too, right? Because it's in 2 years.
Oh, it's in 27. Yeah. Where is it next year then?
I thought it was Miami. I think it's Miami.
So we're going to have to do it for 2 years in a row then. So the final AP Top 25 was out for football, and BYU finished number 13. They went from preseason being picked 13th in the Big 12 to 13th in the final AP Top 25 in the country.
Has that ever happened in the history of the world?
That's quite a jump, and it's pretty awesome. So
even when you won the national championship, you weren't ranked.
Yeah.
But you were certainly picked to win the WAC.
And we were ranked after 1 week.
Yeah, but these guys went from...
We were number 7 in the country the year before. We were number 7. Yeah. We finished number 7 in 83. They thought because Steve Young graduated, we might not be good. But they didn't know. They didn't know. They had no idea. You know what? They didn't know what they're about to find out. That's what they didn't know. Kalani's line, right? So they found out.
They found that out.
Best non-COVID finish since 2009 is 12. So finished 11th in the 2020 COVID season. 10th top 13 finish in 100 years for BYU football. This is the most P4 wins in program history with 9. And BYU in the regular season finished in a 4-way tie for first place in the Big 12. And by the way, that Alamo Bowl is the highest rated bowl game in program history. 8 million people watched that game.
Unbelievable. And it was such a good game to watch.
Yeah.
If you're a BYU fan. Kent's on the stream. I saw him this morning at the athletic building. Kent, good to have you on the show. Granite Bay, checking in from Granite Bay. Let's see.
Gorgeous Granite Bay. Come on, Conrad, you're going to have to help us out. Where is Granite Bay?
It's got to be somewhere warm.
And if it's gorgeous, we want to know about it.
If you're using gorgeous, it's got to be something warm. Hey, here's the early preseason top 25. A handful of outlets have put that out. ESPN has BYU number 9. That's different from like 54, which they were last summer.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Little different expectations. 10th by the Atlantic, or the Athletic. So
okay. CBS,
I don't think the Atlantic cares about football, but the Athletic does.
CBS has them 13th.
And Yahoo Sports has them number 15. So the highest preseason ranking was after the national championship in 84. That 85 team, my senior year, we were preseason number 10. I think we finished 13 that year.
Yeah. So
lost to Ohio State in the Citrus Bowl. Man,
don't get me started on that.
No, don't even get me going either. The 2 times I got to play Ohio State, they beat us both times. So
yeah, and that one was 10-7.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, let's move on to something.
Yeah.
Opening weekend 2025. Some notable games. Iowa State and Kansas State, 2 of the teams that are going to contend with BYU in the Big 12. They play each other on August 23rd in Ireland. And the Wildcats are favored by 1.5 points.
How's there already a line on that?
That's a Big 12 because it's how people a Big 12 game that could very easily be the last Saturday of the season. Instead, it's the very first of the season. And BYU's going to go to Iowa State, not scheduled to play Kansas State.
Right. Also, that same weekend, that August 23rd, Stanford's at Hawaii. Fresno State's at Kansas that weekend. Those games have been announced.
And BYU will host Stanford, and they'll go play Kansas. August 28th, Nebraska's at Cincinnati. BYU will go play Cincinnati.
Play at Cincinnati. August 30th, Portland State's at BYU. So that's the
These
BYU
are some notables.
Right? LSU plays Clemson that weekend. That's a big first weekend game. Auburn's at Baylor, Big 12 team there. Georgia Tech plays at Colorado. Georgia Tech had a strong finish to their season. Utah plays at UCLA to open up, and then Texas is at Ohio State. How about that?
Yeah,
for a first weekend.
And then it goes on to Sunday nights. Notre Dame at Miami, Florida on ABC, and then Monday TCU's at North Carolina. It's like, well, who cares about TCU? But that's Bill Belichick's debut.
Yeah, because can Bill Belichick coach college football? We're going to see.
By the way,
because Nick Saban couldn't coach NFL football.
No,
but he was great in college. So Bill Belichick definitely can coach pro football. Can he coach college? I don't know.
Conrad says Granite Bay is in Northern California, just outside Sacramento.
Oh, okay. Beautiful Granite Bay.
All right. About 5 minutes from Roseville.
Yeah.
I think that's the latest word on that. Tacoma, Washington's on the stream as we continue to span the globe. There's Leander, Texas. Good to have everyone with us. Other Big 12 teams in the top 25, that final poll that we were talking about. Arizona State finished 7. Thought they would drop after getting beat, but most of those guys just stayed where they were in the playoff.
Yeah.
Iowa State 15. Colorado stayed ranked despite getting pounded 36-14. And so I was glad to see them in.
Yeah. The most watched games in 2024. Ohio State Notre Dame, that game, 22 million people watched it.
That's pretty good.
That BYU Colorado game was the 26th most watched game in 2024 with the 8 million.
Think about how many games are on every week.
Hundreds and hundreds.
And the Cougs are 26.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
hey, let's bring over our guys. Sam, you're over here.
Will, you're over
there. Our first guests tonight are the capital S in BYU special teams, place kicker Will Ferrin, big game Bill, and punter Sam Vander Haar. Not only did they make kicks, but they each pulled off a fake kick and ran for a first down. Feats like that get you on the Wise Guys. And we are happy to welcome both of them in. Pop the headset on, slide in there. Hey, how are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Just excited to be here.
What do you think of our setup in here?
Sweet.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. And we tell, did you have a hard time finding the place? Because it's
I had to go around and
we
go on the gate.
Don't say too much because for security reasons, we call it an undisclosed location have we even said it's on the east bench of Provo?
Well, we have now.
Well,
We
it's
just
an
now
undisclosed
revealed.
location on the East Bench of Provo, so we don't really tell much because so many VIPs come in here.
We don't need a
just like you
police
said.
Dig the
situation.
hole and then go through the tunnels.
Yeah,
and,
nice setup though. I do
So
like
it's
it.
pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
Pretty
it's sweet.
cool.
All right, let's just get right into it. Describe the rush of adrenaline that you feel when you're executing a fake kick. Whether it's a fake field goal, which you did, or a fake punt, which you did. When you know you're about to get the ball and this isn't going to end up in a kick, and it's you running for your life. Sam, what's that adrenaline rush like?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I just think that, you know, put a lot of time and effort into it, and then I think it all just kind of is a blur when you actually go out there in the game and do it. So I think instinct just kicks in, and yeah, just try and get the first down really.
Because you know you can't go back to the sideline having got stopped.
No,
Can you?
yeah, you can't be thinking. If you start thinking that way, then you might be in a bit of trouble. So, yeah, particularly with the UCF fake that we did with Will, Will and I kind of looked at each other and went, "Oh no!"
It's on you guys.
Well, with any fake like that, you kind of have to accept like whether or not this works. It's fine. So you go out there and you're like, well, here we go. It's whatever happens, happens. But with that fake and any fake that we do, we run through it so many times. So it's like you just go through what you've done and it's all the same. So
It's genius when it works. You guys look like superheroes.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't, it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, we were lucky we didn't have people at practice watching us do it because it was.
Did it not
was
work a
rough.
lot in practice?
the first few weeks, it almost never worked. Like ball's rolling back and I'm chasing it backwards and diving on it.
No.
And then, I mean, it was the Wyoming week that we installed it. So that was like week
Three?
Three. Yeah, work three.
And then we didn't run it till UCF, so there was a lot of
So
time.
did you know, like with your fake punt, is that Baylor?
Yes,
was a
yeah.
fake punt, and the UCF game was the fake field goal, right?
Yeah.
So you practiced it all year long. Did every game you go into the game, hey, are we going to do this week or not? And you didn't know, and then or did you know, hey, we're running this thing today against Baylor? Did you know this is the week we're gonna run this fake field goal thing?
So different fakes are designed to take advantage of different things that other teams do. So that fake was because they brought in a hard edge pressure. So I wouldn't say that I knew that week that we were going to run the fake, but I knew that UCF brought a hard edge pressure and that they would be a team that would be vulnerable for that fake.
Because they're going for the block, right?
Yeah, so there's a few fakes that we have throughout the year that are for different things, whether they're bringing it off the edge or they are overloading a side or whatever it is. So we have different fakes ready for different types of teams. So we had an idea that it could be that game, but we didn't know for sure until it was called.
How about your? Did you think, okay? Did you know this? We're going to do this week. We're going to do this against these guys.
Yeah, with the punt fake we did, it was a lot more like most teams showed that look where we could do it. So it was kind of called for each game, but obviously we punted pretty infrequently. So sometimes it was called, and then we check out of it. So there was probably 3 times where we went out going to do it, and then Batty would check out of it.
Wait, you leave it up to Tyler to decide?
Yeah,
That's
it was,
a lot on
and it was
Tyler.
funny.
Mind
that's
the
a
bright
lot.
Tyler Batty.
And it was funny because we would go in, you know, on 3rd down, and Pop would bring us in, and Tyler would be like, "Oh, let's run it every single punt," and I'm like, "I'm down, let's do it." And then, they called it for the Baylor one, and he was actually going to check out of it because the look wasn't perfect to run it, whereas the UCF one, it was absolutely perfect to be able to do it. And then Batty just called it in, and I was like, "All right, let's run it." So.
This is awesome. This would be like if Keith Urban was here talking football.
Exactly.
We love that.
One other thing I want, because there's those really cool plays that you practice all year long and you don't get a chance, but then there's the thing that you do all the time. Like you're punting all the time, and you're going through different situations. You're kicking extra points and field goals all the time, every day in practice, and you're doing it regularly in the games. But what's it like from a mental perspective? We've talked to you about, after you made the Utah one, to step up and you go, oh, this one might be just a little bit more important than anyone I've had. How do you manage that mentally? And then I want to ask you about a certain kind of punt, but let's start with Will.
Yeah.
How do you manage that mentally because some kicks mean a little bit more than others. It's not just routine. Do you go through anything differently, or how do you do that?
I wouldn't say I go through anything differently. With kicking, it's nice that I run the one play. I run the exact same play every single time. It does take a lot of preparation. Since I got to BYU, I've been meeting with mental performance coaches regularly. And a lot of that is just more like understanding yourself better, understanding my process, understanding what makes me tick, what makes me nervous, what makes me feel good, what makes me kick at my best, what types of things might get in the way of my process or my thought patterns. And I've found that I'm a guy where I miss kicks a lot of the time when I get too low. So there's people where they need to like hype themselves up, and there's people that need to like calm themselves down before a big moment. And I'm a guy that's probably different than a lot of kickers where I'm like, if I get too low, if I'm like, oh, this kick doesn't matter very much, I'll miss those kicks sometimes. And so I put a lot of work into those, where if I have to hype myself up a little bit or just realize the importance of a kick, I do a lot better in those situations. So then I learn that, and then from that I develop a plan for that. So like right now it's, how can I take a 25, a 30-yard field goal and approach it as if it's a 55, 60-yard field goal. So it's the same whether it's a PAT or a 60-yarder. Sometimes different things will make you think of one kick different than another, but we're training to think of all the kicks the exact same way, no matter the situation.
So 17 kicks ago, you were feeling low, and then you've made the next 16.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good
Does
streak.
Does Sam help get you up? Does he help you stay up for the moment? Is he part of that process?
Sam, not really.
Come on, Sam.
Sam.
Jeez, that's rough.
Sam and I just keep a light on the sideline. Like, my process doesn't really start until we run on the field. So people like see the sideline videos of us smiling or whatever, and it's like, that's not something we're really intentionally trying to do. We're not trying to smile and laugh and joke on the sideline. We're just hanging out until we're called on, and then when we're called on, then I have my process that I go into. So kickers, a lot of the time, they evaluate themselves too much, and they're on the sideline and they're like, oh, am I nervous? Am I in my head? Am I whatever? And with me, me and Sam just hang out and keep it light like we do at practice every day. And he's good at that. He's always joking with me on the sideline, which is helpful. So
Keeping the light. So my question for you, Sam, like, to me, the punt I get most nervous about is when you've got a short working area, so the ball's on the 2-yard line, on your own 2-yard line, and now your heels are on the back of the end zone. It's not your normal distance for the snap. And it's a big game, and it's a big moment. Like, you're behind, or it's a close game, and somehow you've got to get it out of there. That's the one that makes me the most nervous watching you.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that the one that makes you the most nervous? And how do you approach that mentally as you get ready for that punt?
Yeah, I think that scenario was probably the most relevant in the Utah game. I think we had two in the back of the end zone, sort of towards the end of the game. I don't really treat any punt differently based on where I am. I think that I try, like, I guess kind of like what Wills talks about with like a neutral mindset. Like, I sort of go in there and if I think of the situation that we're in, I feel like that's more detrimental to me than if I just go out and kick. So I don't know. I try and be as clear as I can when I punt. The less I can think about it, or I guess the less I can care about it, the better I typically would go out and punt. So, yeah, that's probably my mental process going into it.
Our live stream has Cougar fans from all over the world.
Oh, yeah, they got
board.
great questions, too.
Mark says, is it helpful for kickers to have a stash?
I've been following in the Will trend, the Will Ferrin trend with the stash. So
he started it?
I rolled into BYU and Will had this already. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I better.
Paul Lacey asks Sam, he says, what's more violent, Aussie rules or American gridiron football? More violent.
I think the hits are similar. Just the difference with Aussie rules is that you don't have any like protective gear. So you don't have any pads or helmet. So I think the hits in American football are probably a little more erratic just because you can run in with your head. Well, you shouldn't, but you have the helmet on.
You're supposed to, but you do, right?
Yeah, whereas with all those rules, if you do that, you're either getting knocked out or getting your head cracked open or something, because obviously there's no helmet. So, like that hit that Tanner Wall did on, I think it was Jimmy Horn in the Colorado game, like, that got me going. I watched that like 20 times. That's very much like that's like an Aussie rules hit, like that you would see. But if he didn't have a back pad on, he probably would have been in a bit of trouble. So that was sort of similar to an Aussie rules hit you would see.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, you started at Pitt, and Will, you started at Boise State. So having started somewhere else and come here, what has that made the BYU experience so far for you? What's it been like?
It's been awesome. I think what makes me and Sam different is I grew up here and I grew up a BYU fan. My dad went to BYU. I had 3 siblings go to BYU, and it was interesting. I think the more interesting thing is seeing BYU from the other angle, seeing it from Boise State and coming down and playing at LaVell Edwards Stadium, or playing BYU on the blue in Boise, and we lose and the whole stadium's chanting BYU and we're all frustrated. But it's cool. It's cool coming down here, feeling the support from the fans. BYU fans really are a unique group, and I think we get a lot more support than other teams do, and we feel that. In the program itself, it's a great time to be at BYU. There's so many resources available to us in every single aspect of our game. So there's not really much else that you could want that isn't provided to us at BYU, so it's been cool.
What about you?
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome experience to transfer in. I guess I didn't really know that there was different types of programs. I guess like my experience at Pitt, I just thought that every football program was probably pretty similar in terms of the way they, go about things, coaching, the camaraderie, things like that. But BYU is distinctly different, I think, and that's probably largely due to like the church and the way that Kalani coaches and things like that. So, I love it. It definitely suits me being a little bit older, and like even Will's a little bit older, and I just think that it's a nice environment to be able to be successful.
You guys are a little older, and yet you're right, about the same age as everyone else.
Yeah. So, hey, place kicker Will Ferrin and punter Sam Vander Haar are with us here on the Wise Guys, presented by BradyPlus and distributed by the Deseret News. Brenda, my wife always says, you just need to call him Big Game Bill, because that's what his name is. It's no longer Will, it's Big Game Bill. So, his reliability on making kicks, so 16 consecutive field goals to end the season, 54 and 51 yarders in the bowl game, 41 of 41 on point afters. I mean, it seems like it's automatic out there. You're the holder for all that. So I'm going to ask you about Will. Like, what makes him so reliable? As you look at him, what is it about his game that allows him to be that consistent and that reliable in the kicking game?
I would say probably the preparation. I would say that, I've told this to Will as well, that he's incredibly meticulous. And I think for me, I like that because it allows my job a little bit more simple in what I need to do and what he wants. I think as a holder, you want your kicker to be a little bit maybe harder on you, just because it makes you better in a game, because it's a lot more specific and process driven. So, when we go out in a game, it almost feels, it's probably easier than practice, I would say, because we've done it over and over again. It's a bit cliche because everyone always says that. But yeah, that's probably what makes Will probably so good. And I think that you can't, as Will was saying, you can't get too high or too low or too nervous. And I think that that's probably what separates him. On that kick to beat the Utes, which will live in infamy. So you got the ball down on the field, you kick it. Do you sense everyone's standing up? I don't know if you can even see where that ball is going. What was your vantage point of his big kick to beat the Utes? Well, it's funny. I think I said this to Will and Coach Pop and pretty much everyone else on the sideline, that as soon as I put the ball down, I knew it was in. I just it's funny. You have this feeling when the operation goes right. I know that if Dalton at the time and myself do our job, that it's more than likely going to be in. And as soon as Will's foot hit the ball, I was like, yeah, we're good. I celebrated really early, actually. You couldn't really see it in the cameras, but I was getting around Will pretty early. So does he want the laces straight forward? How does he want the laces? And how does he want the ball? Does he want it tilted a little bit, or does he want it straight up and down? Yeah, every kicker does want it, obviously straight. I guess the lace is perfectly straight, but I think what was cool about our operation is that I sort of began to know particular parts on the field, the way to position my body to make the kick easier for him visually, and then also the tilt, if we're at a certain distance or if the wind's doing a certain thing, I would tilt the ball a certain way to counterbalance that, so it made the kick a lot easier for him. At least that's all in a fraction of a second. That's crazy. That's so particular, and you wonder why these guys are so good. Now I want to ask you about Sam a little bit. So, averaged 42.8 yards a punt, 70-yarder against Central Florida. No punts blocked, which is a remarkable feat, right? What is it that makes him
so effective? And I know you're not out there on the field when he's out there punting, but you guys work together all the time in practice, and so you watch this from the closest vantage point of maybe anyone. What makes him so special?
I think most of the stuff he was saying about me also applies towards him. He prepares really well. I think that's something that our group in general takes a lot of pride in, is just preparation. All the stuff he talks about with holding, a year ago right now, that's what we were working on, is we're working on hitting his spot, we're working on getting a tilt, and all those different things that it feels like we don't play forever, but that's the preparation that goes into it. And he's the same way with punting. Just this morning, he's talking about those backed up punts. He's hitting those in the indoor this morning. He's hitting all these different styles of punts. And the preparation is what is key to just being consistent. Sam's big thing is that he's consistent, that he can hit the same ball over and over and over and over again and be reliable in that. And that's a product of preparation. So I think that's probably the biggest piece.
So when you hit that 70-yarder against UCF, you were like, oh yeah, I got into this one? Or did it all feel the same?
Yeah, a little bit. Because the first punt we had, it was against Baylor, and that returner was incredibly dangerous. And we knew going into that game that he was obviously very good. And the first punt I hit was nice, but it was just a little inside to probably where I needed it to be, just based on any return of like 20 yards or something. And then I came off, and K-Pop came up to me, and he's like, let's do like a cross-field kick just to try and make him misjudge the ball flight a little bit. And that's kind of what happened. And it's funny, like certain kicks are meant to look a certain way for a certain result, where, some fans will look at a kick and be like, oh, like, why did it look that way? But a lot of it's by design, but particularly like depending on the returner we're playing against, or like for example against Houston, that returner was also really dangerous, and it was one of those things where it was like, all right, just hang time and just no return yards, and then against that Baylor returner, it was let's get the ball on the ground, and if it's kicked right, it should roll the way that we ended up getting it. And so as soon as I saw it hit the ground, I was like, oh, that's going to go. And obviously it did. So
And it did.
Yeah.
But between the two of you, we started with this, but you pulled off one of the best fake field goals that we've ever seen, and you pulled off one of the best second snaps ever in a game. I don't know if I've ever seen a second snap in a game, really, as Dalton snapped it to you, and then you passed the ball to Will between your legs, pitched it. I don't know what we even call it. What do you call it when you throw it between your legs to somebody? Is it pitching it? I don't even know. But he was already running at a full speed to his right. Then you guys picked up the first down. So to start with you, how hard was that to master, and how long did it take you before you felt, hey, I can hit him with this every single time from a snap?
Yeah, so the idea behind it actually came from Coach Hill, because he coached that at Weber with another Aussie punter who's a good friend of mine. And Coach Pop leaned on him a lot for that particular fake. And as I said, when we first started, I remember Pop came up to me on Monday and was like, all right, this afternoon we're going to try a new fake. And I'm like, all right, sweet, thanks for letting me know like what we're doing. And we went out there, and I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. And probably the first 2 weeks it was not great. And then I think for the last maybe 3 weeks or something like that, I don't think we missed it once. So I think that I kind of got to a point where, and Coach Hill helped a lot with this, like the feel of it and knowing where Will would be speed wise, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of weird to talk about, to be honest, but it was just a feel thing, and I knew as soon as I put it through my legs that it was probably in the right spot.
Did you figure that you'd be on Sports Center? Like, hey, this thing's really
working
out.
Oh no, I knew. Yeah, I was like, if we pull this off, it's gonna definitely be all over. And I remember just getting on my phone after the game, and I was like, oh wow,
It was so awesome. Now, for a second there, you were thinking of a touchdown pass.
Yeah, did you have the option to throw that, or was that?
Yes.
It was an option.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was they just teach us how to run an offense, it feels like. I'm supposed to read the safety.
Oh, nice.
So the safety, he kind of got cut off by the ref a little bit. So I got the ball, and in practice, I threw it every time. We didn't really have much of people coming towards me or people going towards. It was Ethan Erickson.
Yeah.
So I just threw it every time, and every time I'd throw it, Coach Pop is like, remember, it's a run first. So I
was going to ask,
it's not there.
Who was coaching you up on what the read is, and because it seems like
it's Coach
I'm not
Pop.
so sure I want K-Pop or Jay coaching you up on how to make the safety read. I should have been there in practice for you for that one.
Yeah. So I got up and I looked down. I saw the first down, and then I looked over and Ethan's wide open. So we're both open. But then I kind of glanced back and the safety's just beelining it towards Ethan. And sometimes I can usually hit that throw pretty accurately.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just in the air for a few more seconds than it should be. So not trying to be the guy that gets picked off and then has to go make a tackle. I'd rather just get the first down
So
and
did you
get Jake back on.
Did you calculate the percentages odds and say, I'm more likely to get the first down if I just run it than throw it, and all that went through your head?
I just heard K-Pop's voice saying, run first. And then saw the first down and got out of there.
You got the job done. Our pleasure to have Will Ferrin and Sam Vander Haar on the Wise Guys. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. Jimmer Fredette's going to join us in a few minutes. A bit later on, baseball coach Trent Pratt, as we our last show of January. Calendar keeps cruising along. Special teams accounted for a pair of punt returns for touchdowns, a pair of kickoff returns for touchdowns. It's a thing to be on special teams. Sometimes it's not. Last year it was. What's the special sauce?
I think you hear people talk about how close our team was last season. I think that's a big piece of it. Where special teams, you get the offense and you get the defense, and they're playing together. There's players from both sides of the ball. When you have as close of a team as we had, it's a lot easier to get buy-in for that. When you get receivers that want to run down punts, you get receivers on kickoff team, or you get safeties that want to go and make a play on kickoff. There's just a lot of buy-in from the group. And it's like Sam talking about that fake punt where we had this fake that we're sitting on for a couple weeks, and the guys are like, let's run it. Let's call it. Let's do it. There's a lot of times where teams are just apprehensive and don't want to do that, or don't even want to be on special teams at all. But we had a lot of fun on special teams, and I think our team was so close, which then translates to special teams working efficiently.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Just like, at least for punt unit particularly, it was I got the same reps with the guys, obviously, every week leading into the season, and I just think that I could tell pretty early on that there was like a lot of buy-in, and even like, post-practice, guys would come up to me and be like, oh, like I'd love to be on like a gunner on punt team. Like, can we chat to Coach Pop about it? Like, that was a really unique thing for me to experience, at least compared to Pitt. And so it was really cool just to have a lot of guys like wanting to be on punt team. And yeah, I think that, as kind of what Will was saying, it makes the team better if you want guys on your punt and field goal team that want to be there.
Yeah.
I think I would add to that too. Coach Pop does a really good job of showing why special teams matters and how important it is, whether it's like you get an offense starting on the 10-yard line versus the 20-yard line, right. The percentage of scoring decreases so much the closer they are to their own end zone. Putting points on the board with field goal, whether it's a kick in the first quarter or the game winner in the fourth quarter, he shows the importance no matter what, and people believe that, and you get a lot more effort when people are understanding of the situation.
And isn't it nice you got a head coach that likes to do stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Fourth down.
Let's run it. Let's do it.
First down.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a great culture. Will was just out. Dave and I were broadcasting pre- and post-game shows and all that for the basketball game the other night. And you're out on the court with the gang, with the trophy, celebrating the Alamo Bowl win, which was kind of fun. Thunderous applause for that. Spring football starts. We just mentioned this at the start of the thing, just next month.
Yep.
So, and then Portland State's in August. It just seems like you go from the season and then boom, 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 you're right back at it in spring ball, and the season's upon us again. So, what are you both going to work on? What's this team got to work on to get better for this next season?
I think for everyone, it's just not being stagnant. It's everyone as a team. There's definitely kind of, I think part of the culture that we built is this is what we did last year. This is our result. That result wasn't good enough for us. How do we do better? How can I take this lift and go a notch up? How can we take our field goal operation and take it a notch up? There's so much that we can do in, I guess, every position group, but I can just speak towards us, where it's like we got a couple new snappers in. We go out, we kick, however often we kick right now. We're detailed about what we're doing. We're trying to get our operation to feel as comfortable as we can for all of us, as quick as we can. And then if we can do that, then things are a lot easier in the fall. So putting in that work now, so later on we're more comfortable into the fall.
What's the operation time you guys want on a field goal? By the time from the snap till you get it off?
We want to be below 1.3.
So 1.3 seconds to snap the ball, get it down, Sam to get it down, and you to have it off of your foot, 1.3.
Yeah.
So foot fans can watch for that. Sam, what about you? Same question. Like, what are you working on, and what do you want to get better at?
Yeah, I think like just some things mechanically that I'm trying to kind of implement just to be a little more effective in different ways. I think it's just, as Will was sort of saying, is I think the worst thing you can do as a specialist is being stagnant no matter how good or bad you go the previous year. So just trying to keep innovating different kicks and different things to try and keep returners on their toes. And I've been blessed because there's so many guys over here who are Australian who kick similar to the way I do. And so, you know, we kind of are in constant dialect of, what do you think of this? And it's really cool that I'm able to sort of feed off them as well and watch film and just go out and just implement things for spring ball. And I think last spring ball it was a lot more. I was trying to rush things like process-wise a lot quicker because there was kind of a first impression thing for me because obviously I just transferred in, whereas, you know, this time around it's a lot more comfortable. I'm trying to, you know, prepare for the season as opposed to just, I guess, put my best foot forward, you know, from a first impression standpoint. So it's cool to be a lot more comfortable in that aspect and just get the operation as good as we can on field goal and punt.
Well, here's our last question before we hit you up with 5 and then get you out. Last year, BYU was a surprise story, right? ESPN said, hey, they're going to win 4 games, go 11-2. This year, there won't be the surprise. You'll probably be ranked, what we saw ESPN's preseason has you number 9. That's different than 54. Or 13th in the Big 12. So how different does that make the off-season preparation, knowing that everyone knows when BYU is going to get there this time?
I don't think it's much different for us. I don't think last year it was we're picked to win 4 games. Let's go win more than 4 games.
Yeah.
One thing that this team does really well is we take everything day by day. Our strength coach, Coach Phyllis, he talks about like, right now, game day is this lift. Right now, game day is this practice. Whatever we're doing, we're going to do it 100%. And that's the mindset that it's being present, and it translates into games where it's not, we want to prove the media wrong or right or whatever it is. We're focused on the people in the building, focused on our team, and going into a game, it's not about winning 4.5 or over under 4.5 games. It's about winning every game that we can, winning every play that we can, every one-on-one, making every kick, hitting 42 net on every punt. And then if you can do those things, everything else falls into place. So I don't think it changes from last year to this year. It's just we're focused on the process and we're focused on all the little details of our crafts.
So being the underdog is not a driver?
No, I don't think so. I think particularly at this level, like a lot of the guys, you know, in all positions, it's if you're not wanting to put the best foot forward, or I guess be the best that you can, it's probably not the sport you should be playing anyway. So I think a lot of the guys just want to be the best they can, and then that just translates and flows into the team. I think if anything, obviously we had a really good year last year, and you know the talk is, all right, let's go win a national championship, let's go win a national championship, and obviously that's always present no matter how your season goes the year prior. But I think obviously it's maybe subconsciously it's a lot more tangible in the mind of everyone else. So I think if anything, it's just everyone is just a lot more desperate to be as good as we can, as quick as we can, so that we can, you know, potentially win a national championship.
Fantastic.
Love it.
All right, 5 questions
Yeah,
is
here we
presented
go.
by Strategy Square, delivering connection, clarity, and confidence in business and marketing strategies. Owned and operated by a BYU alum who's helping the wise guys conquer the world. You can reach Chantal at strategysquare.co. Everything is led up to this moment.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
my
these are the ones
The
you
pregame
answer
show
off
is
the top,
over.
just off the top of your heads. You have to give us this. So we'll start with we'll do Will, and then we'll do Sam.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I'm Big Game Bill. I'm sorry, Big.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Big Game. So
It's a lot of names. A lot of names.
we'll start with your favorite sports movie.
Remember the Titans.
Easy. Okay, Sam.
I don't know if we'll know his favorite sports movie.
Gridiron Gang. I don't know. I watched that semi-recently.
Gridiron Gang?
Yeah. So
I've actually seen that one. I like
so
it.
we'll roll with that one.
Okay, Gridiron Gang and Remember the Titans.
Gridiron
Now we'll go in reverse order so that he gets to pick for your favorite singer or band.
Dean Lewis, an Australian guy.
Dane Lewis?
Yeah.
There's one I have to look up. I don't know Dane Lewis.
He's an Australian.
What's his genre? Like, what kind of music is it?
He's kind of like acoustic sort of type deal, I would say. I don't know. Hallie, my wife, and I, who's over there, we just went to a concert in Pittsburgh when I was there, and he was somehow there. So
And he's an Aussie, huh?
he's an Aussie.
So-
yeah, so.
You and Keith Urban are my 2 favorite Australians.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to be my choice because
Dave's
you said
friend
that
writes
earlier.
for,
so-
writes for
Yeah.
Keith
Yeah.
Urban, so when we go to the things, we get good seats.
Let's go.
So okay, that's a new one on me. What about you?
I'd probably say Zach Bryan,
Oh, Zach
country.
Ryan. You're a country guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
okay. Your favorite, we'll start with you again. Your favorite ice cream, Will?
The, what is it? It's Graham Canyon, BYU Creamery.
I have Graham Canyon in my freezer right now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it is something
Got introduced to that
special.
one like last year. And
Yeah.
yeah.
What about you?
Mine's
Sam?
probably like a mint chocolate or like a caramel pecan type deal, I think. I don't know.
What is that? Those are two different ice creams.
Mint chocolate or caramel
They're
pecan.
actually, they're
Can you
not
mix
similar
those
at
all
all.
together? You can mix those together. If you have 2
Yeah.
scoops, you could do a caramel pecan and a mint chocolate one.
Mint
so.
chocolate.
Depending on the day, yeah.
Okay.
One of those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, your favorite football moment.
I would say Will's field goal.
Will's field goal.
Yeah,
to beat
the
the Utes?
Utah one, yeah. Just because, like, that was individually also, like, a good game for me. So, and obviously we won. That's the reason why it's my favorite moment. But the whole day and the expectation and leading up to it, and then, like, the locker room afterwards, like, for me, like, I guess winning in those moments are ones that I'll remember forever. So, yeah, Will's field goal, I would
So
say.
look,
Utah.
just as a footnote, so when Jake gets tackled back there, he's getting knocked around inside the 10-yard line, and you guys are thinking, there's no way we're even going to get on the field for a field goal, or you're like going, hey, we need a couple of things to happen, and we're out there.
Yeah, it was pretty flat when he got sacked, and I was thinking,
pretty flat.
I was thinking that the game was over. But then, I think once he hit, might have been Chase over the top. I think
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
middle,
yeah.
I was like, all right, well, we're fine. Because I mean, maybe I'm a little, I guess, biased towards Will, but I was like, as long as we're within like 62, we'll probably be okay. Like, well, at least we'll have a chance to win the game. And so he was right around that area, I think, when he caught the ball, and I'm like, all right, like, we're going to get a shot.
Yeah,
and then,
another minute left, too, at that
well,
point.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was,
Wow.
after he caught that, I was like, we're going to probably win this game.
I mean, I
Crazy.
love Will, but I was hoping for like under 50. I was, but I was like, wow. But I 62. That's some confidence. What about you, Will? Favorite?
I'd have to say the same thing.
Same
It's
moment.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Same moment.
I think after that flag, I think for me it was just cool that we had a chance to go win the game and didn't even register how we would do
Yeah.
that. But it was even better that way. So
Yeah,
It was a pretty amazing moment for everybody that was there. We were doing the post-game and pre-game show, and we were up there on the platform watching. It was a pretty amazing moment.
Yeah, just the atmosphere and all of it was just like, I don't know, because obviously we were down and out for quite a period of time, and then the turn of events changed, and then we went on the field, and I'm like, oh, if we win this game, it's going to be pandemonium. And so, yeah, that's definitely, like, when I think back on my career, I think that's probably the moment I'll think of.
That's cool.
That's great. All right, now be
So
careful on this one.
one's, you know what?
We have our studio
Courtney and Hallie,
audience.
come in here and get behind your hubbies on this. So I want people to see you guys, because these are the better halves for Sam and for Will. So this is Courtney
And
right
they
here.
weren't sure this was going to happen, but it's happening.
This is Courtney, and this is Hallie.
How are you?
Hey,
So
Good.
we're glad. And this is what's unique about BYU football too, is that not many programs have this many spouses and family. It's just a family orientation. So we're going to start with Will on this one. What's your favorite thing about your wife?
my favorite thing about my wife, she is very driven. She's an elementary school teacher. So she puts in some nice long days with the kids. When we got married, I was a walk-on at Boise State, and I was paying a good buck for tuition up there. And she came, and we got married. She moved up to Boise and kind of supported for the little bit that we were up there. And she works really hard, and she's very driven and very motivated in everything she does.
Nice. You can tell your favorite thing about Will too if you want.
Answer.
Do you want to do the favorite thing about Will too?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, or get close to the mic though.
Okay.
So
My favorite thing about Will is that he has a positive attitude about everything. If I have a bad day, because kids are hard to work with, he's always asking me what happened that was good that day. So I think that that's a really good thing, that he's always positive about every scenario.
So, a follow-up question. Do you get more nervous than he before a big kick?
Absolutely.
So when he's lining up to beat the Utes, and
Yeah.
he's already knows he's going to make it, where was your head?
Oh, I was sick to my stomach. I think that there's another wife that has a video of me saying I'm going to throw up. I got both hands on my face. I know deep down that he's going to make it, and
Right.
I am excited for him. But in that moment, I'm like sweating and super nervous.
that much pressure it's pressure on her too, which I love.
Yeah.
That means you love this guy, which
Yes,
is
I
great.
do.
So
That's awesome. Thanks for being here.
So,
Okay,
how
over here.
about you, Sam? Your favorite thing about Hallie?
Yeah, I'd say Hallie's very adventurous, and that's probably one of the things that I guess fell in love with her like initially, and then obviously she works really hard with her career, similar to what Will and Courtney was sort of saying. And it was hard because like when I left Pitt, I had a student visa, and then I had to apply for my green card, and so I wasn't able to, you know, work or make any money or do any of those sort of things. So I definitely lent on Hallie a lot, which was kind of difficult to do. So I definitely am very blessed to be able to have her by my side. But yeah, she's very adventurous, likes to hike, and it was actually one of the draws to come to Utah. So yeah, I guess that's
All right.
that's probably
There we go.
Let's hear from
Okay, let's hear from Hallie.
Hallie.
The thing I love most about Sam is everything's going to work out. He's very cool, calm, and since the moment we met, we felt like we were on a very uphill battle until we got to BYU, actually. This is where things got really easy, but every step of the way, he was going to make it happen one way or another. Like, every road bump, like, he sees a clear path. Like, he can figure it out. So he's very much my guide in life at this point. Yeah.
That's great. So are you more comfortable when he just catches it and kicks it, or when he takes off on a fake?
I went nuts on that fake. That was amazing. I was actually at home, but it was still amazing.
Because they're trying to tackle him when he's faking it.
I love the fake because I never got to see him play Aussie rules, but I've gotten quite a good idea of it. And seeing him run, then you can see, you know, footballer in him. So that was really cool. But I used to get nervous when he was up there, and Sam didn't take offense to it, but was like, why? Don't you bet on me? And I'm like, you know what? I do. And actually, I'm like, I'm done. We're done stressing. We're going to enjoy it.
That's fantastic.
Do you get nervous? Like, so BYU's playing at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's were they number 2 in the country at the time? With when BYU played them on the road and upset them on the road.
Yeah, or 3, maybe.
There were 2 or 3 in the country. BYU's playing them on the road. My son Gavin's the holder, and it's the end of the game, and it's a game-winning field goal. I'm like so nervous that he's like, and then the snap comes out and it's low and on his hip. Oof. And he grabs it and he gets it down, and they kick the field goal and they win the game. And then Kalani after the game says the player of the game is Gavin Fowler. He just took a bad snap and got it down, and we won the game with the field goal. But I have to tell you, I thought I was going to throw up because he was holding. Do you get more nervous when he's holding or when he's punting?
100% holding. I actually didn't watch the Utah kick, which I feel sad about in the end, but I was so nervous, and that's something that, like, you know, is a new skill for him and all that, and, like, you know, these are our great friends and we don't want to let them down, so
Yeah, holding is definitely more nerve-wracking than punting. Like, that was the most nervous I've been, and it wasn't close. I remember thinking, oh, if I stuff this up for Will, it's going to be terrible. So
Is it not the most underappreciated exchange from the center to the holder to the kicker? We see it in the NFL as well, and we just think it's automatic. There's nothing automatic about any of that, is there?
Yeah. No, not at all.
On that
Gavin's
kick-
actually helped us out a lot with our holding.
yeah, he has. He's
So-
been great. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're ever going to miss, like, again? You made 16 straight. It's a school record. You made 41 straight point afters. I mean, most people who aren't at where you're at right now can't say that I'm probably not going to miss again, but you haven't missed for so long.
Hey, I've always just taken the mindset of being 1 for 1 every time. And that's about as far ahead as I think. So if I keep doing that, then hopefully.
You know, there's a theme here too. These guys focus on the moment, but they're both Courtney and Hallie have described that they're just positive things. Both of these guys just think positively. They think about the positive. They don't dwell on what could happen bad. Am I right? Like, that's what makes these guys who they are. That's why they're clutch all the time.
Yeah, I think that, like, at least, well, I'm sure Will's the same, but at least if you go out there and you think, oh, like, if I miss this punt, what are the fans going to say? Like, if you think anything like that, then you're probably already in trouble, because your brain, I think there's like some psychological thing about it that's all your brain registers is, you know, the fan this, the fan that, like, if you miss.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's not, I don't know. At least for me, like, I try and go out there and I just think, I'm thinking about, like, my process of my swing and things like that. And if I, like, keep it very narrow focus on that, then the result should really take care of itself. And I guess it's probably similar for
Well, as you guys are lining up for the field goal against the Utes, we're either doing this post-game show or we're doing this post-game show.
Exactly.
They are 2 very different post-game shows that it all hinged on whether or not you got the ball down and you made the kick. So you guys were great for us.
Yeah,
so
our show was so much
really
better when
appreciate
you guys
that.
did that.
That was
Let's
awesome.
go.
Hey, thanks for being with us tonight.
Yeah. Hey, one of the reasons BYU is number 9 in the preseason poll is because they know that they have great special teams coming back, and that's a big part of the game. When you have your quarterback coming back, and you've got your kicker coming back, and you've got your punter coming back, then all things are good. So we're glad you guys are back this next year, and we're so glad you spent a little bit of time with us, and we're really glad that Courtney and Hallie spent some time with us too.
Thanks for
Thanks
coming
so much
in.
for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys. You can just, like, this show's so casual, there's no commercials, you can just go.
Thank you, guys.
Because a guy that maybe you know, Jimmer Fredette's coming on right now.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So
The Jimmer Fredette.
Yeah,
The
Jimmer's
Jimmer
on with us
Fredette.
next.
I think I still say his name every time I shoot a 3. So.
let's bring in the
love it.
Jimmer
Yes.
Fredette, former lottery pick, U.S. Olympian. And always a pleasure to have on the Wise Guys, our friend Jimmer. Hey, Jimmer, 2 of your biggest fans just left the set. Man. And it was great having them with us. But I don't know if you heard Will say, every time he shoots a 3, he still says your name.
Oh man, every time I kick a field goal, I say Will's name. So
Hey,
we're in
Will,
the same boat.
Jimmer just said every time he kicks a field goal, he says your names. So there you go.
Hey,
That might be the best duo at BYU right now. Those guys are great. They are phenomenal at what they do, and so consistent. You take that for granted, but us football guys know that is not consistent. You never know what can happen with kicking, so it's been impressive.
That's right.
it's not terribly different from free throws, is it? It's a timing thing. You got to do the work to make it look easy, right?
Exactly. Definitely a timing thing. Definitely a muscle memory thing. That kick, he's done it so many times. He knows exactly his mark. He knows exactly, how much he needs to put on it, how much lift he needs to get on it, depending on how far it is. All of those things that go into it. And he's done an incredible job. I mean, I kicked a little bit when I was in high school because we didn't have a kicker. And 70% of the time we just decided to go for 2 because I was not there.
Yeah, people forget Jimmer played football in high school.
Jimmer did everything.
Yeah, and was good, very good at football. Back in our old home state, upstate New York. That's why Jimmer and I we will forever be buddies and boys because we're both from upstate New York for sure.
So look, you were just back in China. Were you negotiating a new deal with Shanghai to keep playing hoops, or what were you doing over there?
No, I wasn't. I still get called from teams in China.
Yeah.
Still get called, and they still want me to come over and play. But obviously, at this point, I'm still rehabbing. I'm back with the family. I'm doing my stuff and enjoying my time. But I was actually over there with Under Armour doing a 3x3 basketball camp for 18 kids in China. They brought in a group of guys from all over the country to just kind of do like an elite basketball camp. So I was able to go help run that as a coach and be able to, instill some knowledge in the kids. And they're really good players. They worked hard. We had a lot of fun. And then at the end of it, they brought in a team from Thailand and Malaysia and Serbia to have like a tournament for guys and girls.
Wow.
And it was a great experience, really fun. They worked hard, they listened, and you can't ask for anything better when you're running a camp. But they were good players. It was elite talent.
That's cool.
I know you're rehabbing, Jimmer, and getting back in shape, and it was just such a shame to get kind of that Olympics cut short. But I know how much fun you were having playing 3x3 and getting ready for the Olympics and doing all that. Is there more in your future, or are you just rehabbing to get healthy and coach and do everything else? Or are you thinking, there's a little bit more left in me. I'm going to come back and play this again?
Yeah, the mindset's not there right now. I physically could do it. I feel good as far as an athlete and my rehab and everything. And I could get there. Mentally, I'm not there right now. I'm more of, I enjoy being home and I enjoy being with the family and kind of doing my other things that I have going on right now. And for me, 80% of it is where my mentality is. As far as if I'm going to be a great basketball player in the court, most of it was because of my mentality. It always has been. And the rest of it is being able to shoot the ball and kind of do all these things. But it's the mindset. So if I'm not fully into it yet, at this point, it's not in the cards. So we'll see if that changes in the next few months. I'm kind of teetering, and it could go either direction at this point. So we'll figure it out, but I'll see how the rest of the winter goes first, and then we'll go from there.
Jimmy, these Cougars are teetering a little bit, but now they're teetering on leaning toward turning the corner and getting their stuff together. They've won 2 in a row with Baylor coming in tomorrow night. What do you like that you're seeing?
Yeah, they're just being aggressive. I mean, Richie's playing great. right? Like he is very consistent right now. He's shooting the ball at a high clip. They've needed it. And he's been able to kind of be the guy that they kind of have gone to, which they needed a guy to step up to be able to do that. And Richie's kind of taken that mantle and said, hey, I'm going to get you points and I'm going to score the basketball and I'm going to be aggressive. And, obviously Yegor has played much better the last 2 games. He's looked more confident. His shot has been starting to fall a little bit, especially last game. He's looking to take more shots. I think he's getting back into it now. I mean, he was out for a few games and sometimes that throws rhythm off. But he's getting back into it. And, so I think those 2 guys obviously playing really well is important for them down the stretch. I want to see Dallin continue to get better and to keep plugging along and try to keep being aggressive. Because I think if they have 3 guards that are playing consistently well on any given night, you can win in that league because, you're going to need all 3 of them some of those nights to win some of those games. And at least if you can have 2 of them on at any given night and then throwing it into Foose and hopefully you can get him going every once in a while and on good matchups, all those different things are important. So I've liked what I've seen. They've played with a lot of energy the last 2 games. They could have put their heads down and gone a different direction, but they haven't. And that's credit to Coach Young and his coaching staff and the players on the team and just being competitive and saying, hey, we got to change this. We got to change it now. And it only happens with results on the court. So I'm looking forward to the Baylor game. That's going to be a good test for them, obviously. But it was great signs. And, obviously when they play at the Marriott Center, it's a whole different ball game and they play really well there.
With Yegor, these last 2 games obviously have been really, really good for his confidence, especially to see the ball go through the bucket once in a while, actually consistently. What would you like to see from him in his progression against Baylor? Baylor, another really physical, athletic team. That they've got him at home. How do you see his game growing, and what would you like to see out of him tomorrow night?
I want to see him start to take the physicality to the defense. I think he sometimes lets these guys get into him. A lot of the guys that are playing against him, especially in the Big 12, they're smaller, strong, quick guards, and that's kind of what you see. And they get underneath you, and it's a different feel. It's a different vibe than necessarily playing in Europe, where it's not as much of that going on. So it's just kind of a different type of style of play. So I want to see him be aggressive. He's got he's got great height. He's got a good frame on him. I think the thing is I want to see him get into his guys before they get into him and take that aggression and use it against them. Being able to do the Magic Johnson, being able to get up the court. You don't have to always play with the ball in front. Use your back, get into them, be physical, then create separation, and then be able to get off of it and do what you need to do. Obviously, once he gets off of a ball screen and he gets off of it clean, it's extremely hard to guard because he knows the reads, he knows where to pass it, he knows when to shoot it. He's got his no look down to the corner for the lobs. He's very, very good, but it's about getting into the screen and making sure that he sets it up properly so that he comes off, and then they have to help or they have to switch. So I want to see that aggression, taking that physicality to the defense.
26 NBA scouts are supposed to be at this game tomorrow night. That's not bad.
Quite a few.
So when you were closing in on National Player of the Year award winner and moving into the lottery projection, and more scouts were watching you, did you notice, or were you just too caught up in your senior season and trying to beat San Diego State and all that stuff, or was it a weight on your shoulder?
You weren't too aware of it. Coach obviously wasn't coming in and be like, hey, we got 26 scouts at the game tonight, and he was like, no, we're trying to beat UNLV and this is how we're going to do it. So you're more focused in on that. Obviously you're aware. I mean, everyone knows at BYU that Yegor is probably a top 15 projected pick. And because of that, you're going to have a lot of scouts there especially because they haven't seen him a lot. Mm-hmm. So they want to see him in person. They want to see him live. They want to see how he plays. So because of that, there's going to be a lot of scouts at every single game. And they're aware of that. They understand that. But at the same time, I know that they're focused on the task at hand. You look way better to NBA scouts if you're winning basketball games.
Right.
And that's just the fact, right? If you're playing well and you're winning basketball games, you're going to look much better no matter what your stat line looks like. So I think that that's something that's important. I know Coach is preaching that. I know the guys understand that. So hopefully they don't feel any weighted pressure. I'm sure they're gonna, it's the new norm at BYU. That's what's gonna happen. I mean, you got guys coming in that they're gonna have 30 NBA teams at pretty much every game. That's just the way it's gonna be as they move forward. So get used to it. If you're not used to it now, get used to it.
Yeah. Jimmer Fredette's on the Wise Guys with us, presented by BradyPlus and distributed by the Deseret News. I want to talk about that a little bit more, Jimmer. So the latest recruiting numbers are out for next season's class. ESPN ranks BYU's 2025 class number 7, just ahead of North Carolina. When would I ever have thought that I would say that? BYU's recruiting class is just ahead of North Carolina, right? AJ DeBansa, he was named a McDonald's All-American today. He's going to play in the McDonald's All-American game on April 1st in New York. You just said get used to it. So give us a little bit of a forecast. What do you see? Is this sustainable? Is this like the new normal? We're going to get these kind of kids every year at BYU? What is going on?
I don't think you're going to get a kid like AJ every year, right? AJ is a different animal. That guy is a touted number 1 pick. He could arguably be the number 1 pick if he left this year, right? Him or Cooper Flagg.
Mm-hmm.
And he is an absolute animal. There's just not a lot of players out there like him. But I do know that coach wants to go big fish hunting. Like he just does. Yeah. And I think that's his priority. He's got some money behind him, and BYU's obviously got a great collective, and they understand they want to be in the national spotlight, and they're trying to go with the kind of that blue blood type mentality. What Calipari did at Kentucky a long time is you get a core group of guys that play for multiple years, and then you go after 2 to 3 big fish every year to supplement them as freshmen. Along with the veteran teams. Duke does that. North Carolina tries to do that. Kansas and Kentucky, they all try to do that. And, BYU is trying to, follow in those footsteps. So it is sustainable, but it's difficult, right? It's difficult. You have to be recruiting, obviously, at a high level. You're going to have to continue to get the support of the NIL and the collective to make sure that they're behind you, and you'd have to play well. You gotta have successful seasons, and if you don't have successful seasons, you're gonna see money leave. I mean, it's just the way that it works in college sports. You want to see some type of elevation of the program, and I believe it's going in that direction. I think that coach obviously believes in that. He's going to develop pros, and you're going to see guys that are playing in possibly all-stars in the NBA that went to BYU. And, we haven't seen that before. So it's an exciting time. And, obviously coach has a plan together. His staff has a plan of what they want to do. And I think that's what they're going to try to do. And that's what you're going to see.
One thing we haven't seen before is a BYU cruise, and the ship set sail in April. And you guys are going. And while you're on the high seas, you're going to be conducting shooting workshops. How is that? Tell us about that. How's that going to work out on the boat?
It's the first time I've heard of it, Dave. So I am excited about it. We will see how they go. I'll teach everybody beef. Balance, eye, elbow, follow through. We'll get through that, and we'll make sure that they get their good form. So if they got a cord on the hoop, I'll be there all the time. I'll be taking pickup games, and we'll be going out there and we'll play some 3-on-3, and we'll play some cutthroat and see what happens. But I'm not taking it easy on anybody.
My job in the cruise will be I'll introduce Jimmer, and then Whitney and Brendan and I'll just sit there and watch him teach, and we'll relax.
So we'll have free. Whitney's going to teach. Whitney's going to be teaching the cheer.
That's true.
She's going to be teaching.
That's right.
How to backflip, do all the things, and so she's excited about that.
Well, this got us thinking. How many continents have you hit a 3-point shot on, and have you ever made one at sea?
I've never. Well, we've played really close to the sea at 3x3. Never on the sea. I haven't played on the sea before, but we've been right on the ocean in many different places. And how many continents? Let's see. I've scored in all of them except for Africa at this point.
Wow.
And yep. So I have not been to Africa. I would love to go to Africa at some point. Whitney wants to go out on safari 100% at some point. And my boy Charles is from the Ivory Coast. I got to try to get over there at some point.
Right.
That would be great.
I was just working out with Charles yesterday. Yeah, he was in the gym yesterday. We talked.
You know
for
what?
a long
Charles
time.
is always working out.
I know.
He is
a specimen,
He is
Jimmer.
in the weight room
Yeah.
constantly now. He is he is,
Yeah, we had a nice visit yesterday in the weight room. So
history will be made. You'll be shooting threes on the open water.
Yeah.
That'll be something. You have to take in the wind, the current, right? It's going to be
that's the thing that's the thing with outside, especially on the ocean. That wind is something fierce. You have to shoot it, 3-4 inches to the right, and it kicks it back to the left. And then of course, as soon as you shoot it, it stops. The wind stops, and then it just airballs. So it happens all the time.
It's going to be fun.
Well, if you want to spend some time with Jimmer, I'll be there as well, hosting a bunch of stuff. You can get more info, Cruising with the Cougs, April 11th through 18th. You can go to BYUcruise.com. So just BYUcruise.com and come join Jimmer and I and sail. That'll be fun.
Hey, let's roll out with our 5 questions presented by Strategy Square. Trent Pratt's coming up here in just a moment, BYU head baseball coach. Tonight, we've asked Jimmer to prepare as a basketball world traveler who grew up in Glens Falls, New York, to reveal the 5 most exotic foods you've had to eat that you never imagined you would ever eat.
How do you want to do this, Jimmer? You want to do this like, you can just throw 5 out there. Are they in any rank order or?
Yeah, I'm going to throw 5 out there that I did eat, and then I'm going to throw 5 out there that I did not eat that I saw.
Okay, that's even better.
That's even better because I'm not crazy exotic. Like I'm not a picky eater. Like I ate pretty much everything you put in front of me. But there are some things that I was like, you know what, I just can't do it. So
okay.
We'll go through the 5 that I ate first.
Okay,
so
these
we'll
are
go
the
with
ones he
something easy first. Just red bean desserts. Have you guys ever had those?
Red bean dessert? No.
Yeah, it's an actual bean. It's a red bean that they put in a lot of like pastries in China, and it's not very good. I'm just gonna say that. It's not sweet. It tastes like bean, but they do it in a lot of stuff. So that's a simple one.
When the American is biting into a cream-filled donut and there's the nice, flavorful stuff over there, they bite into it and there's red bean stuff.
That's exactly right, and
okay.
I was a little taken aback at that.
Okay, that's a one yuck for me. Okay,
that's first. Next one was donkey. Tried donkey.
What?
Don't tell me it tastes like chicken. What does donkey taste like?
It does not taste like chicken. I've been told it tastes like horse. I've never tried horse before.
Well, that's good.
I've been told it tastes like that. It's very tough. It's a very tough meat. Right, so it's not great, it's not awful, not the worst thing I've had.
Did they grill it or did they bake it? What do they do with it?
Yeah, they just basically like a grill it. You know what I mean, like a burger type thing. So,
all right.
Yep, like ground donkey basically.
Oh my goodness.
Next one we'll go with chicken feet soup.
Wow.
So they get the chicken, they cut off the feet and the legs, and they just throw them in a soup, and then you just kind of eat it up. And is
that crunchy? Is the feet part crunchy?
It's very crunchy.
Wow.
Yep, very crunchy. They just fry it.
Hey, Jimmer, Eric on the live stream from Singapore says, I love red bean desserts. It's a staple. So
it is. It's a staple in Singapore. It's a staple in Asia in general. I don't love it just because it's not sweet, and I'm an American. It's just we need sweet, right? Like you said, I need Krispy Kreme and crumble.
Oh yeah,
those types of
don't blame me at all. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So then, next one we'll go with durian. I don't know if you guys ever heard of durian.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
It is a fruit, and it might be the stinkiest fruit I have ever seen in my entire life. I didn't know that I was eating durian. I thought it was like some type of pineapple, that type, and I ate it, and it was, in my opinion, it was really bad. People over there love it. And they love the smell of it, but I could not get the smell out of it. I don't know how to describe it. I've never smelled anything like it before in my life.
Does it grow on a tree or what?
I think it does, but I'm not positive on. Don't quote me on that. So if someone knows. Actually, I
durian.
had it in Singapore. So if the guy was back from Singapore,
have you ever had durian? So
yeah, let them know. But the scent is unmistakable, and I just can't do it.
Okay.
Just can't do it.
All right.
Last and not least for the 5 is cow tongue.
Oh.
Yeah, cow tongue. Didn't know I was eating it. They had it on like some type of Japanese grill, and they're throwing meat on, and you just kind of eat the meat. and I grabbed it and ate it, and I immediately was like, nope, did not like that. And I was like, what is that? And my teammate's like, oh, that's cow tongue. I was like, well, thanks for telling me.
How
Like,
about a heads up?
I mean, did it look like a tongue though? Like,
no, it didn't. It didn't look like a tongue. It's just like a shaved piece of beef is what it looked like. But it was very tough.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you can tell. So
Jimmer, I'm afraid of your next 5.
these are ones you ate.
Yeah, I'm
these are
afraid.
ones that I tried. These are ones that I tried.
You tried them.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so
and by the way, Adam Streeter says durian is gross. And then,
Thank you.
Then
I
Eric
appreciate it.
Eric
See?
Waite, who spent time in Singapore, says smell durian every day. Can't take it on public transportation. Thankfully, it's against. You can't do
You
that.
don't want
You're
that
not
on a
allowed
train.
to take it on public transportation.
It's very, very potent. Like, I can't even explain it, but you would, someone probably made a perfume over there on it.
so bad. So bad.
all right, so now the list of things that were actually you wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with the tame one first. Boiled bullfrog. Just straight, literally a bullfrog that's sitting in the pan and it's boiled. So it looks like it's like a regular bullfrog, and you can just pop them in your mouth.
Is that even legal in the United States? You just take.
That's-
You just yeah. So you
That
says no
doesn't sound
thanks
good.
on the frog.
I have eaten frog.
I'm
but
full. I'm not going to do
I've
the
had
frog.
frog legs down in Louisiana.
Yeah, I think that's different.
Frog
Yeah.
legs, right?
Yeah.
Yep, people have had frog legs. This
Yeah.
is different.
This sounds
Definitely
way
different.
different.
Hey, and by the way, Jimmer, the guys have Adam Streeter and our 2 experts on durian. Adam says it does grow on a tree. They also grow in Thailand. It's big. And then Eric says it's a big, pointy watermelon-sized fruit. So,
Hey, Bullseye says I've had cow tongue tacos and they were delicious.
oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Everyone's got a different palate. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
they
So,
do.
okay, so back to the stuff you would need. Boiled bullfrog sounds pretty bad, but let's go with the
Yeah,
next.
there we go. So next one is snake skin.
Oh, don't even. I don't even want to. Go ahead.
Just
I don't even
straight
want to.
skin. There's no snake. They just take the skin and had it off, and it was just sitting in there, and you could just take it and eat it.
Why? Why?
Like Doritos, snake skin.
Literally,
That's
like Doritos.
disgusting.
Oh,
okay.
Yep.
You did the
So-
right thing on that one.
Yep. Next one, my coach told me about this story. First time he went to China, he was with a group of people. He went to a very great restaurant that was like high end, and for their delicacy, they brought out this little bowl of live baby birds, alive, and they just threw them all in their mouth and just ate them straight up, beak, eyeballs, everything. Just ate the whole baby bird.
That
So.
no, but you didn't do that, of course, right?
No. I would absolutely not do that. My coach did, though. My coach did.
What is going on over
Wait,
there?
is that not the worst? We're on number 3. That's
There's
not
two
the worst.
more. I don't even know where we're going on this.
Yeah, there's 2 more. So next one is raw alligator sushi. So they literally had at this restaurant a cardboard, like a cutting board that had this, kind of looked like guts on it. And then they had like on the outside, they had the actual, the arms, the tail, and the head. And then the cutting board was the body. And then they just threw the alligator inside sushi on top of it. And people were just taking it and eating it.
That's just awful. Yeah.
That's
Once
really
again,
bad because it's
That's
raw.
just
It's
not
straight
good.
like
Raw alligator sushi.
I'm
Okay.
glad you were able to say I ate a late lunch. I'm
Yeah.
not going to pass.
Yeah,
I don't need this.
I didn't eat dinner, which is good. So
All right, what's next?
All right, last one. One of the most foul things that I saw was we would go to the train station, and we get on train, and usually when you're at train stations, it's like street food. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of just grabbing and going. And I didn't eat a whole lot of it because a lot of it was Asian street food, and I just didn't know exactly what it was. And they would get these bags of this, like it looked like it was just like a weird goo almost, and they'd put it in a bag, and it would be all red. And then they would get gloves, like these plastic gloves, and they put plastic gloves on. And then they'd get on the train, and they'd open up these bags, and they just start eating out of this bag, and it would look like it was like red, bloody goo, and it ate it, and it was cow brain, just straight raw cow brain. And I couldn't even look at it, to be honest with you.
why? Why will you eat
That was,
straight raw?
and
cow
I was like,
brain?
you guys are doing this in a like, we're not at a good restaurant right now. We're at the train station, and I'm like, guys, come on. what's going on here? And they're like, it's delicious. They loved it. And, but to be fair, they came over to the U.S. when I was here. We played at the Houston Rockets, and all my, Chinese teammates came over, and we brought them to a Mexican food place.
Yeah.
And I was over there killing guacamole, and they thought it was the most disgusting thing on the planet. They're like, this green mush. What is this? This looks terrible. And they didn't like it. So, everyone's got their thing.
I know. You're right. Everybody has their own palate. Like, my kids take me out, and they're like, oh, should we get some oysters? I'm like, no, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever think. Do you like oysters, Jimmer?
I've eaten some oysters because down in New Orleans they do some good oysters down there, but they basically put like bacon and butter and like.
Okay, well that's a whole different thing. Like
it's all the stuff around it that makes it good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jimmer, has any of this inspired Whitney in the kitchen to come up with any, like stuff like this?
Whitney, the first time that Whitney went over there, she was pregnant with Wesley, our first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we got over there and we went to this they had us in this Asian buffet. And she's like, I still can remember the smells from the first time there, and I will never, ever eat the Asian buffet again, whether it's here or in the States. So she unfortunately is not, picking up any of the food habits.
You're a survivor.
To be fair, there was some great food over there as well.
You're a
lot
survivor.
of great dumpling. Great stuff.
Trent Pratt's jumped on with his head baseball coach at BYU. You just listened to Jimmer's delicatessen over there. Can you match any of that from your travels?
No, and I hope I never do. I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Stuff. My teammates were good to me most of the time, though. They always were like, "Hey, you should try this, and you shouldn't try this."
Yeah,
we don't really get sick, so they were always good.
Thank goodness for good teammates. Hey, it's going to take us a while to recover from this interview.
I'm not hungry. I can tell you that. So
hey, we're proud of you. We're glad you're on the mend. We'll see you soon. Are you going to be out any ball games before we get to tournament time?
I'm going to be out with my kids. I always bring them out to a game. I'm going to bring them out to the February 15th game against K-State.
Nice. Perfect.
So I'm there for that one. Excited for that. My kids love it.
All right.
Seeing that. And then
give our best to everybody.
Yeah, we're looking forward to spending time. Brendan and I are looking forward to see you and Whitney on the cruise. That'll be fun. So
that'll be awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have fun.
The great Jimmer Fredette, live from Colorado, just home from China. And I'll be honest, when I thought it'd be kind of a cool segment. Hey, Jimmer, you've probably seen some exotic foods over all your travels. And then what he just laid on us with 10, what he did eat, what he wouldn't eat.
I'm trying to think of what I think is the most disgusting. Probably the cow brains in a bag.
Yeah,
are probably the worst.
That didn't sound good at all.
I didn't want any of that.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the live bird.
Yeah. You know what?
How do you even? What do you even do?
I think the cow brains are the most disgusting. I think the hardest to eat would be the live baby birds. I think that's pretty bad too.
You know what?
Awful.
A boiled bullfrog doesn't do it for me either.
That doesn't sound good either. None of it sounds good.
Yeah, I'll pass on all of them.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's life playing international basketball. Are
you going on that cruise too?
We're playing the season.
That's why he's not going.
Some of us got jobs.
He's not going because you guys are playing and he's covering it.
He's got to fill in. Yeah. We're doing a lot of stuff. Our pleasure to be joined by Trent Pratt, getting ready for a second season in the Big 12 as baseball gets back and going. This week, Stone Cushing named preseason All Big 12. You can see our interview with Stone at wiseguys.com. By the way, he was awesome.
Yeah, he was so fun to get into his mindset and how
he's a fun guy to have on the team.
Yeah,
he's grown up and
he's a big time competitor.
You can feel it in his answers, and looking forward to seeing him. Season opener, Fresno State, February 14th, Valentine's. So it's a great date. Like, you and I are spending Valentine's together in Fresno against the Bulldogs.
I don't think I've been home many Valentine's days the last 13 or 14 years. It seems like
the season
always opens up around that weekend.
Yeah.
Well, it's a romantic time to open the season.
Very romantic for guys to be on the road in Fresno for Valentine's Day. Yeah, so.
Well, what's it like on campus watching all these other sports going on, and then you just have to wait forever till you can start practice, and then it's still a couple of weeks away from where you get to play games. Is the wait the hardest part, to quote Tom Petty?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think our guys enjoy going to those other sports and watching them play and supporting each other, and it's been awesome to see how successful teams have been this year, and hopefully we can just continue riding that wave like everyone else.
Yeah.
You told us that the Big 12, before last season, said this is a different kind of a challenge. It's a great league and it's deep and so I feel like that debut season was as challenging as you thought it would be, as you told us it would be. So what did that teach you, that first go through that'll get you ready for round 2 here in the Big 12?
We had a real young, inexperienced team last year. And so getting those guys to play every day in that should speak volumes this year. That's kind of the plan. And knowing those guys have been through it and they know what to expect now and are a year older, man, we're hoping that bodes well for us.
Put a young roster out on the field last year. The good news is they grew up in the offseason and they're back a little wise, a little bigger. I saw some on campus, a little healthier, ready to get going. How vital is that year of experience in this league for those guys coming back?
Oh, it's huge. I think we have, 8 of our top 10 hitters back and some guys that logged a bunch of innings. And so them just being hungry and knowing what we went through last year, that group did a good job staying together in a rough season. Man, they love each other and they play hard for each other. And those are things that I think we lost 10 1 or 2 run conference games. Yeah. And so you flip that and win 5 or 6 of those, and man, it changed the whole dynamic of the season. And so I think those guys are hungry and know what to expect, and I think they expect a lot out of themselves this year.
How can you get things done in the off season when the weather, it's miserable out there. It was 12 degrees when I left for work this morning, and so it's cold and all that. What can you get done as you're really getting ready to launch the season? You got to go on the road to play in warm weather at first. So in this off season, what did you get done, and how did you do it with the weather like this?
The crazy thing, the weather's been really good for us.
Yeah, true.
We've only been inside, I think, maybe 3 days. We've had just Saturdays. We had to go inside today. It's a little cold, but we've been outside every day. And so we've actually got a lot done. We've inter-squad the last 2 weeks, been outside. We'll go to St. George this weekend just to get on grass and dirt, get off the turf, and get ready for the weekend. But luckily for us, I just get nervous when it doesn't snow in January. It's going to snow in March and April.
Yeah, that worries me too.
When we need it to be nice. And so hopefully the weather holds out and it stays dry for us.
It's nice to have a field where you can flip the heater on and you drive by and everything's winter wonderland and the field is green and you're out there banging around. That's such an advantage.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt for sure.
Yeah. BYU Baseball head coach Trent Pratt's on the Wise Guys, presented by BradyPlus, delivered by the Deseret News. Easton Jones back on the hot corner. He showed an impressive glove. He hit 14 home runs for you last year. What's new with Easton?
He's a year older. I think that's the big thing is he's been through it, and he got to play a lot last year, and he's been a leader on our team this year as far as just how he shows up and works every day and by his example, and he's using his voice, and, man, we expect a lot of him this year.
Yeah. Cooper Vest played first base and had 11 home runs. What do you need to see from him this year in terms of improvement?
I think all our guys Coop just keep getting better. We need to put more balls in play. We probably struck out too much last year, and I think just the level of pitching we saw on a consistent basis was different than the year before. And so I think those guys they know what's coming at them this year. There's been no surprises, and it's always good to be a year older.
Yeah, I remember calling the game when Luke Anderson hit 3 home runs. I think it was against San Francisco, if I remember right, his freshman year. Mm-hmm. And hot and cold last year, worked through some injuries, and when he's on, he's so valuable. And I bumped into him on campus a few weeks ago, asked him how it was going. He's licking his chops and ready to be a leader as a junior.
Yeah, he went out and had a great summer. Luke's a guy that, man, he can have tough at-bats. He's a guy that doesn't swing and miss very much, although he struck out a little too much last year. But he went out in the summer and had a real good summer in the Northwoods League, and so we just expect him to just carry that. He's been really good all fall, and now Ben Goodman's back, so if we can just carry that into the spring.
Riker and Crew McChesney both played a bunch as freshmen this last season. Is that the biggest jump guys make? Is it from their freshman season to their sophomore season? What I would expect them to be big-time contributors this year in their second year in the program. How much better can they be this year for you?
A lot better. Just you can't coach experience. No matter what, no matter how talented they are or how good they are coming out of high school, until they really get in that league and get punched in the face, they don't know what to expect. And most of these kids coming out of high school have probably never really struggled before. And so they've gone through some battles. They've gone through some struggles now. And like all those guys, they're a year older and they know what to expect. And so this year, I don't think things should rattle as much as they did last year.
Interesting, too, that in high school, these guys are superstars, so you wouldn't have them here. So they hit everything. Then they get to the Big 12, and you faced some pitchers last year that are going to play in the major leagues. And then all of a sudden, it's not down the middle. It's just a fraction off the corner, or a bender comes in. And I would imagine the pitching must blow their minds a little bit.
Yeah, it's different. And that's a big adjustment. From high school to college, it's a big it's a big adjustment, and those guys handled it fairly well last year.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, just being a year older, it's good that they got a ton of experience last year. It's just going to make our team better this year and the years to come.
Let's talk about pitching on the Cougs side of things. Stone Cushing, we talked about, he's back preseason All Big 12. A big time closer for you last year. Does his role change at all this year? And then what new faces can we look for in that pitching rotation that we can watch for as the season unfolds here?
We're just going to use Stone kind of how we used Mason Olson last year. Hey, like if it's the 6th inning, the 7th inning, 8th inning, if it's a big situation, we need someone to stop the bleeding or shut the door. We're going to put him in the game. We have Camden Daly back from last year.
Yeah.
That big right-hander up to 97, 98 miles an hour. We have Hayden Kuhn back that pitched a lot for us out of the bullpen before an injury kind of hurt him late in the year. Peyton Gubler's back that got 6 or 7 starts toward the end of the season and is getting healthy and going good. Then we have Garrison Sumner that was from Salt Lake Community College. Jaden Harris coming in. And then we have, we have some new arms out there, and we have 2 freshmen that would have really helped us last year but got injured, and Kason Bell and Maddox Peck. And we're looking for a lot of those guys to come in and get some experience this year and really help us. And Justice Reiser's been hurt the last couple of years and been showing a lot of promise the last little bit in our inner squads. And so we feel like we have a lot of pitching depth. Maybe they haven't had success or they're doing experience, but there's enough guys there to make a jump this year.
Is there a number in your head where you're like, gosh, we need to have – this is how many quality pitchers we need to have to compete on a regular basis in this league? Is there a number that you think of?
There's never enough.
There's never enough.
Pitching wins. There's never enough. That's one thing every coach says is you can never have enough. If we could have 10 or 12 guys you can really count on, I would say that, hey, you know what you're going to get out of them and really compete. That should get you through it. But injuries happen, so, man, there's probably never enough pitching.
I remember when Bell got hurt in the bullpen before game 2, I think. We were down in Mesa.
It was our 4th game, so it was the Monday game against Grand Canyon.
And it was going to be his start.
His first start,
And then all of a sudden, somebody else came out. And I was calling the game, and I'm like, that doesn't look like him. And because we were so far away from the dugout. But, man, to lose a starter 4 games in, and then everything was a shuffle.
Yeah, just to use it, like he's a power arm and really good, and he's going to come in and be a big part of our rotation as a freshman. For him to not get that experience last year.
Right.
But, man, you talk about a kid that, man, he's driven, does everything right. He'll be back soon, early in the season. We're excited to get him back.
A 52-game schedule. 52-game schedule. When I say that, then you realize you really have to have a lot of pitching, right? Mm-hmm. So 52 games. It begins, as we mentioned in Fresno, on Valentine's Day. You also have UCLA, Cal State Northridge, Gonzaga in non-conference play. How do you like the way this non-conference schedule rolls out?
It's good. We'll go down there and play some good weather, hopefully in California. Go to Gonzaga, play some weather like us. Then we get Stetson at home.
Yeah.
And so, man, I'm just not sure why Stetson wants to come from Florida all the way to Provo in the first part of March, but we'll take it.
It could, and we know it could be great and it could be awful.
Hey, the good news is UCF comes the next week.
That's right.
And as much as we like it warm, it wouldn't be bad to have it chilly for the Big 12 opening series with the team from Florida all the way out here.
Yeah, and that's why we practice outside every day because, hey, we're going to play in it, so we might as well get used to it. It should be our advantage.
At BYU Baseball, head coach Trent Pratt on the Wise Guys. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. Bryson Campbell is the new face on your staff, hitting coach and recruiting coordinator. You brought him on just a few weeks ago. Tell us about him.
Man, he's great. I've seen him out on the recruiting trail the last couple of years, and when that job opened up, you always have a list of a couple names that you try to go get, and he was one of those names, and, man, we're grateful to get him here. Great guy, 3 little kids. Hopefully his wife can get here soon. But he's come and just jumped right in and, man, been great with our guys so far, and, man, it feels like he's been here all year.
Everyone who drives past the baseball stadium sees the big rigs out there digging a hole down the left field line. What are you building?
Man, we're expanding the stadium, putting some seatings in.
Okay.
And, man, getting 4 new batting tunnels underneath.
Oh,
with
nice.
some steady art, like some pitching facilities and all the new bells and whistles that has been needed for a long time in our program to, help our guys get better.
Well, that's cool. When's it all going to be done?
That's cool stuff.
Hopefully middle of the summer sometime.
All right.
Hopefully, by next fall we can use it and get our guys in there. And so we're excited about it. And thanks to the donors and our administration for making it happen.
Yeah.
So when you say tunnels, are they like underground things that you can use in the winter?
Yeah, so they'll be sitting on top. Just kind of right now, our batting cage are right underneath those the stadium down the left field line, and so they'll just adding on and then making it a little bigger underneath there, so we have more room to work.
It's good stuff. That's good stuff.
All right, 5 questions for Coach Pratt. Now, I didn't ask you to come prepared with what Jimmer laid on us, so it's going to be a much better ending to the show.
It'd have been pretty boring if you'd asked me those
are
questions.
interesting. Hey, one other question. We had Wally on, Joyner, of course, and he was telling us about the time he hit it onto May Hall and Hillman Halls. Do we have anybody that can hit it that deep this year?
Yeah, there's a couple of guys might be able to run into one.
Okay, I love it.
So,
Really?
Yeah, a couple of guys might be able to hit one that far. So
I've been with Wally and Corey at the same time when they're going back and forth, and Corey's saying the ball he hit on the steps of the Marriott Center was actually deeper than the one that Wally hit onto the roof of the May Hall.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure which was more impressive. All I know is the outfielders in both cases, the ball hit the bat, they didn't even move.
No, they shouldn't.
They just stood there and went, yeah, that's like, I'm not even going to look like I'm going to run out of that thing. That thing's out of here. I'm not even going to watch it.
You look kind of dumb trying to run after one of those.
Yeah.
Is Jones the biggest power hitter?
Probably, yeah. Easton's got some big time power and no.
So somebody might hit May Hall then this year.
Yeah, we need a left-hander to get it out there. For right-handers getting hit it that far.
Yeah.
We had a few up there on the steps of the Marriott Center last season.
Match Corey's. Yeah.
Easton probably had a couple up there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's fun to see that ball jump out of there. It's such a special place to watch a night game. But you remember last year I don't think we had a game where it was over like 80 degrees, where there was one day where it's like, man, it's so hot. It seemed like we were under it was a jacket season, right? Almost everyone had a jacket on. But on fireworks night at the stadium, after a win, that's tough to top.
Yeah, it's a pretty special place, especially with that backdrop, fireworks going off. Especially after a win, it's even better.
Yeah. Great environment. Everybody needs to get out there. Okay, 5 questions.
Presented by Strategy Square. Get more information at strategysquare.co. Tonight, Coach Pratt's 5 favorite baseball players of all time. So as many know, I played catcher at Arizona State and at, don't tell me, it's just slipped me, I want to say, it was in the SEC. Auburn?
Yeah.
Auburn, that's right. I didn't have my note in front of me. And in the minors and has been around baseball his whole life. So that's the
we're going to do this by position. So So we'll start with your favorite pitcher of all time.
Randy Johnson.
The big unit.
Ooh.
If I had to pick a guy to win a game, I mean, that's a guy I'm going to go with.
I feel like if I'm in the batter's box, I feel like he's on top of me. He's just so big and long.
Yeah.
Right?
What's the one pitch you think of when you think of Randy Johnson?
When he hit the bird?
When he hit the bird.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. That's what I think of.
What's the chance of that?
That was the one behind John Kruk's head in the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah, that was
Kruk
a good
turned
one.
his helmet around,
Oh, and he could throw some heat. Holy camole. So, okay, favorite catcher?
Buster Posey. Kind of a new guy.
Yeah. So you're not doing an old Hall of Famer. Yeah.
How does a catcher watch catchers now? When you watch them on TV, what are you looking at?
Man, kind of just the intricacies of what they do. Like, how they frame the ball, catching it, and then just kind of how they run the team. You can kind of tell those guys that are confident back there and the pitcher really trusts them. It goes a long ways.
Yeah. That's a great choice. Okay, your favorite power hitter of all time?
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Oh, nice.
Man, I was in the minor leagues playing when he was going off, and like anytime you could see him hit, the TV was on, and it was captivating. You didn't want to miss an at-bat.
Yeah.
So if you're a catcher and Bonds is in the batter's box and you're calling the plays of the pitches, how do you pitch to him to try and strike him?
Just walk him.
You just give him 4.
You got a better chance putting him on first base.
That's the most honest answer ever. You know what? Don't even mess with him.
If you're not trying to give up a run, just put him on first.
They asked Greg Maddox that one time, and Greg, I think he said Bonds had the best hand-eye coordination he had ever seen with a bat. And when he struck out looking, it was probably a fraction off the plate, and he wasn't swinging at those.
No.
And that made him and so when he did swing, he was hitting strikes. And when he hit, how many hit? 72? Was it 72 that year?
Yeah, it did some damage for sure.
Yeah, and he had a lot of balls that he hit that the outfielders didn't move.
When you're in the minors and somebody's doing that up in the show, how does that work through? Everyone talking about it?
Oh, always. I mean, that year you had, I think I might have been in AA, or I can't remember, A-ball, AA. We were just sitting there. It's like, I mean, you were watching every at-bat. Yeah. You want to watch SportsCenter when your game was over, checking the box score to see what he did. You were pretty locked in on him.
I was a sportscaster in Vegas at the time, and he was going to do something every night. It's just a matter of what inning it was going to be. And if he struck out or hit a triple, you're bummed out because it didn't go into the ocean,
into the water
into
with
the cove.
kayakers going after it.
We had a teammate trying to hit as many home runs in batting practice as he had in the game. So he kept his tally to see if he could keep up with Bonds with his BP home runs.
Yeah, that was a fun time. It was something special. I used to think Jose Canseco was a great power hitter, and then when our buddy Vi Sikahema beat the crap out of him in that boxing match, I just lost all respect for him. So I'm like, wait a minute. You give a 5'9" punt returner, just beat the crap out of you, you're out. He's no good anymore.
Yeah.
So your favorite shortstop?
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. Yeah. What did I just watch? Did I watch a documentary on him? I think I did.
Yeah, one came out not too long ago.
Really interesting. Yeah,
Was it
really interesting.
For Jeter, was it maybe he didn't have the world's biggest arm, wasn't the biggest guy, but he just made plays. What was it that attracted you to him?
I think he always won.
Yeah,
I mean, on the biggest stage, he always played really good. So those are the games we saw all the time. Growing up, when I was there, we didn't have MLB The Ticket and to watch every game. You kind of watch the big games that were on Sunday night or the playoffs, and it seemed like he was always there.
Yeah, no.
Did he not hit a home run in his last at bat? Didn't he do that?
I think he had a walk-off right, line
Or
drive to
something
the
like
right
that?
side.
Yeah. That was that's the captain, right?
Yep.
For the captain.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to finish with your favorite outfielder of all time.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, yeah. He's a great one.
Why him?
Man, he was the best player growing up. I mean, when I was young and all the way through, he was the best player. And so there's nothing he couldn't do.
It was the size allowed him to cover so much ground, and he seemed to know how to play the wall, didn't he?
And there's nothing he couldn't do. In his prime, I think, there was, you talk about the complete 5-tool player, that was him.
Yeah. I remember, this is before my time, but I remember watching video of Willie Mays out and him running balls down and catching them over his head and over his shoulder. For some reason, I just have a soft spot in my heart for Willie Mays as one of the greatest of all time. So.
Yeah, for sure.
There's not one Chicago Cub on your whole list.
Yeah, that's it. Do you know that's his team,
You didn't
right?
ask for second baseman. I'd have said Ryan Sandberg.
There you go.
Yeah, that's true.
If you would have asked for a second.
I felt like shortstop. There's so many good shortstops. That would be a tough.
Somebody that loves the Cubs for as long as he does they just have to be humble and get
a
used
little
to disappointment.
Right. A little bit strange.
Hey, my son-in-law loves the Pirates. I'm like, really? Since you were a kid? That's got to be hard to love them for all those years. So they've had some good ones, but a lot of bad ones.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Let's finish up with this. What are you most looking forward to here in a few weeks when we get started?
I'm just looking forward to our guys getting out there and get a chance to play somebody else. The fall and the spring's been great as far as getting ready for the season, and this team loves each other. You can see when they come to the field every day. I'm just excited to see them, reap the rewards of all the hard work they put in. Because it's about them, and, they're ready to play, and they're excited, and to me, that's what I can't wait for that to happen.
Friday night, February 14th, BYU at Fresno State on BYU Radio from Fresno, and we'll get it started. Be looking forward to it.
And you brought your boy with you tonight.
Yeah, who'd you bring?
Yeah. That's Tug over there. That's a guy that.
Hey, Tug, come here.
He
Come
bad
on in,
boys a
Tug.
little bit.
Come over here by your dad, between your dad and me.
Tug, you're getting big.
Yeah, we want everybody to have a chance to meet this guy. So
Now, as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but I think I'm right, you are a baseball mind. Understand the game, love the game. Do you give your dad advice on coaching?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, what do you tell him? What advice do you
Talk
give?
into that
Here,
microphone.
You can talk right into mine right here, buddy. Come real close. There you go.
Like let's say it's a tight game,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, Dad, why don't you try this?
I don't think it's ever been a tight game.
Still, bunt. You try to tell me what's wrong with the lineup sometimes.
Yeah, do you help him with the
Don't
lineup
shine
once in a
out.
while? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you-
Who's your favorite player of all time?
Probably Cal Ripken Jr.
Ripken.
That's a good one. That's good.
He showed up every day, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he sure did. He was an Iron Man.
All right,
Great ambassador of the game.
Do you think Easton Jones is ready to have a big year?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been showing him how to swing the bat?
No.
No? and are you playing Little League, coach pitch, T-ball? Where are you at?
10U.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal.
All right.
Good deal.
Well, you're
shy
welcome on
tonight,
this
Tug.
show whenever you want.
You can come anytime you want to be on, Tug. You can come on.
Okay.
He's not named after Tug McGraw, right?
Not directly. I had a teammate at Auburn named Tug.
Oh, yeah.
And he was named after Tug McGraw.
Oh,
so
there you go.
Hey, when you want to come up in the radio booth during the season, just come on up.
Okay.
All right?
Tug McGraw was a great player when I was growing up, but his son's more famous.
Yes, he is.
His son Tim McGraw, and you know who he is, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Well, Tug, thank you. Thanks for bringing your dad to the show
Yeah, thanks for
tonight.
coming with your dad. It's fun to be able to hang out. Did you get to hang out with him at practice at all? And did you get to go with him ever to that?
Usually when we don't have school.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
good.
Well, you focus on school, but go with your dad whenever you can.
Thank you,
All right.
Coach. Great to
Thanks,
have you
Coach.
here.
Good seeing
to
you
have
guys.
both.
Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Looking forward to seeing BYU baseball all spring and into the early summer over at Miller Park.
Thanks, guys.
Trent Pratt, head baseball coach, and Tug, his assistant coach. We going to call you that?
Helps him with
Nice
the
job.
lineup. Yep. So
Thank you,
thanks,
guys.
Coach. Good to see you.
Fantastic. Fantastic stuff. Did you watch that football game last night? Of course you did.
Yes, I did.
Were you surprised that the Chiefs won?
No,
No, I wasn't either.
not at all. You know, and the reason I'm not is because Andy Reid has been there so many times before. Patrick Mahomes has been there. Travis Kelce's been there. They're very good on defense. They know how to win this time of year. And the fact that they won all of these tight ball games all year long is just simply not because they have the best athletes out there right now. They have great athletes, but because they're the smartest and most clutch team in football right now. Now, I don't know if they can match up with the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
My team of nephews are all bent out of shape because they say that the NFL wants the Chiefs in the
Oh,
Super Bowl, and so
people need to get over
We were
this.
cheering against them, and we won. We felt good
Oh,
about
they're
it.
making calls for I'm telling you,
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
They're convinced. and
That's not
it's
happening.
crazy. So it's Andy Reid. How about Kingsley Suamatia? Okay, he hasn't had the best year on the field, right?
Right.
He played a lot early and has been learning, has been on the sideline. But how about this experience? He's going to the Super Bowl as a rookie.
Yep, invaluable.
With the Chiefs. Eagles, February 9th. It's on Fox. Andy Reid's the winningest coach in Chiefs history and the winningest coach in Eagles history.
Unbelievable.
If you're an Eagles fan, maybe it's the closest thing to in the Utah BYU rivalry is the Utes love Kalani, right? Because he was up there.
Yeah, yeah.
And now Kalani brings his team in. It's like, how do you cheer against the team, but you're cheer against them, but you're okay with the coach? That's kind of like this for the Eagles.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
I think he's still beloved in Philadelphia.
Yeah, of course he is.
You know, for when he got in Philadelphia, they weren't good, and he made them great, and he took them to a Super Bowl. And then people forget when he went to the Chiefs, I think they won 2 games the year before he got there.
Yeah.
And now look at
Turned them around.
now they're on the verge of history.
No team has won 3 straight, and so Coach Reid is in a position to make NFL history if they can beat the Eagles. And we invite you to go to wiseguys.com. You can watch our interview with Andy Reid that we had over the summer on this program, where he talked about the special challenge to get and try and do 3 straight Super
You want to do
Bowls.
something nobody'd ever done.
And that was before the preseason started. And look what they did as they marched through the season. Their defense is terribly underrated. And then Mahomes is like the Bills said after the game. It's like to be a champion, you got to beat the champs.
Yep.
And Mahomes is the champ.
They've got championship mentality. So, and hey, next week we're going to do Super Bowl preview on the show.
yeah, it's gonna be great.
So make sure you come and join us. We're going to have former Cougars Austin Collie and Dennis Pitta. They're going to join the show to share their Super Bowl stories with us and help us preview the Super Bowl.
Congrats
Nice to have 2 Super Bowl guys that have played in the game.
And they're storytellers. We're
Yep.
going to have a good time next
Yeah,
week.
it'll be really fun.
Puka Nacua, highest graded receiver in the NFL this season of all the
about
receivers. And he was hurt to start.
Second season in the league, he's the highest graded receiver in the league.
Kyle Van Noy named to the Pro Bowl roster after 12 and a half regular season sacks. And we congratulate Kyle.
He's the ageless wonder. Kyle Van Noy is the ageless wonder. He just continues to produce. He's better than he's ever been right now. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And that's because he doesn't give his kids junk for breakfast. Remember, he won't feed them cereal.
I know it.
Said he won't eat cereal. He
That's
only
why he's
eats
got grandparents.
His kids get protein smoothies and healthy stuff for breakfast.
Yeah.
All organic, of course. So
Hey, here's a football question before we get to men's hoops. And we've got a number of things to update you on before we ride out of here tonight. It's been an awesome show. Cougar Board question of the week. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, it's the largest online community of BYU fans. Thousands of posts every day. This question's from Preppy, one of their insider subscribers. Was it just luck, or has something drastically changed with football conditioning to have so few injuries last year? Are there details of what changes there are to conditioning now versus 10 years ago? We've certainly had seasons where it seemed like everyone was out with a hamstring.
yeah,
And last year, outside of a guy missing a game here or there, BYU was healthy from start to finish, and they went 11-2 as a result.
yeah, it makes a huge difference. And yes, they changed a bunch of stuff in the offseason, including some of the staff. They brought in more staff. It's like a holistic approach. like mental, physical, nutrition, everything. But you just heard when we were interviewing our kicker and the punter, Will Ferrin immediately referred to the strength coach and what he's got him doing right now.
Yeah.
And he's got him doing things mentally as well as physically. And I can tell you this, that they integrated last year better than I've ever seen the sports science guys into the program, where they talked about, okay, we're going to design every practice with load in mind. And every workout during the off season is going to be done with load in mind. We're not going to overtrain these guys. We're going to train them up to their peak, and we're going to have them peak when the season gets here. And even when we start fall camp, we need to know how many periods you want to practice offensive team, because that's going to determine how much we do in the workout the next day. And so they really monitored the loads on these guys and made sure they peaked as the season started, and that they didn't have injuries that were associated with overuse. And when they needed to rest, they made them rest. And the way they integrated the sports science staff with the coaching staff, I don't think they've ever done it this way before. And I think the results are out there for everybody to see.
It was
And
fantastic.
let's just hope for the same next year.
Especially on defense, where last year they were depleted, and this year, even we'd mentioned the 3 linebackers, Taggart missed 1 game.
And that was a concussion.
And everyone else was full go.
Very few soft tissue injuries. Like, you're going to get some fluke things in football. Somebody's going to break, like who broke his wrist? Was it Connor? No, what did Connor break? Connor broke a bone.
He broke his foot.
Yeah, he broke a foot. So those things, no matter what you train to do, if you get rolled on a certain way, you're going to have an injury. But the soft tissue injuries, like the strained hamstrings, the MCL tears, all of these soft tissue and connective tissue injuries were rare this last year. That I chalked that up to off-season conditioning and the way they integrated the program, and I want to see just more of that this next year. So, good stuff.
Good question, good answer. All right, let's roll on some campus notes. Men's basketball 13-6, 4-4 now in the Big 12. Beat Cincinnati 80-52 for a second straight victory. Richie Saunders had 21. He was 5 of 6 from 3. Yegor Demon, 15.7 assists, 5 rebounds. Seemed to be getting his stuff back.
Yes.
11 of 15 threes the Cougars made in the second half. Cincinnati couldn't answer. They got overwhelmed. And a young lady had a half-court shot for $10,000.
Highlight
That's
of the game.
the kind of night it was for BYU.
Hey, by the way, the selection committee, they messed up on her. Like, they're supposed to go find somebody that they don't think can shoot.
Yeah. Well,
And she comes
made
out,
it clear.
she just makes the layup, then she goes to the free throw line, and she makes that, and we go, oh.
Yeah.
Then
she hits the 3.
We're like, this woman can shoot. Then she gets out at 3 and she knocks it down. We're like, uh-oh.
Now she's got 20 seconds.
$10,000 is at risk right now.
Yeah. First one was short. Second one was short, but they were close enough.
They were on line. All of them were on line.
And then bang, and it went.
And the place went nuts. And what I loved was she going off the court, and 2 coaches from Cincinnati said, "Hey, nice job. That was something.
Wish we could hit some of those tonight.
That was pretty good." I loved what Cincinnati's coach said. 2 things he said. He basically said, when Yegor Demon is coming off of a screen and you leave him some space and he's knocking down threes like that, BYU is almost impossible to defend. So if Yegor's on and he's being aggressive offensively, then they're impossible to defend. The other thing he said is, I've never been involved in a game, coaching or playing, when another team has made 11 of 15 in the second half from 3.
Yeah.
That was a special performance the other night, shooting the basketball.
It was something, and it was needed. Beat Colorado back on Tuesday, 83-67, first true road win of the season, 25 for Richie. Demon, 8, 7 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, does a little bit of everything. Cougars outscored Colorado by 14 in the second half on the road, which was huge. And now there's tomorrow night against Baylor, but 8 of the next 9 games are quad 1 games. Yeah. So the fun is over. And now it is,
or maybe the fun is just beginning.
Well, now it's just now it's heavyweight fight time.
Yeah,
right. Either night, these things could go one way or the other.
Yeah, Baylor is 13-6, 5-3, and very athletic. And so this is going to be another big challenge. But if BYU shoots the basketball the way they did in the second half of Colorado and in this game the other night, they can play with anybody in this league, including all those quad 1 teams that you're talking about, especially at home. That Baylor game's on ESPN2, pregame with BYU TVs at 6 p.m. And then at Central Florida on Saturday, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, ESPN Plus. That game will air on ESPN Plus.
It's a big week, a chance to wrap up January with a winning record.
Yes.
And then head into these battles in February. In the Big 12, as we sit, Houston's number 1. Iowa State and Arizona are tied for 2nd. Texas Tech at 4. Kansas and Baylor at 5. BYU sitting at 7.
Yeah.
and tied with UCF and West Virginia. Man, if they could be when they were picked 9th, and we're okay with that because we're looking at the league going, okay, 9th gets you in the big dance. You're going to win tomorrow. Now you're 6th.
Yeah.
With a chance to make it happen. And you're starting to play good. That's
they're starting to make the shots, and the young guys are starting to understand what's going on, which is what we hope for.
Yeah.
Remember what Kevin Young told us early? He said, my goal is for these young guys to understand what they're doing, play really well in March. And they're getting there. They're getting there. So how about the AP Top 25? Iowa State's at number 3. Houston's at 6. Kansas is at 11. And Texas Tech, who put on a shooting exhibition against BYU, is 22. Houston right now, the way they're playing defense, Dave, they're looking as good as anybody in the country right now. I mean, Iowa State does too, but Houston is playing really, really well right now.
In the Big 12, some notable games this week. Iowa State and Arizona play later tonight. Baylor at BYU tomorrow. Houston's at West Virginia Wednesday. West Virginia's in the top 25. That'll be an interesting one. Kansas is at Baylor Saturday. Arizona State at Arizona, or Arizona at Arizona State on Saturday as well. So those are some of the big games in the Big 12 this week. I've got an article out tonight in the Deseret News on how BYU is so close to making winning a habit, right? Do it twice. You do it 3 times. And a lot of statistics say, hey, if you do something 3 times, you're trending into a winning habit or a bad habit. And so we'll throw some ideas in there. I think if they win tomorrow, they have turned the corner.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. I think it's a big game tomorrow, especially at home. If they can shoot with confidence and they see the ball going in and they defended better this last game, then I think the corner has been turned for certain. So let's talk about women's hoops. They're 10-9, 1-7 in Big 12. Delaney Gibb, though, is an all-star. She's playing great. She was named the Big 12 Newcomer of the Week for the 6th time this season. She's making a case for first-team all-conference. Not just – she's obviously going to be Newcomer of the Year in the league. Sure. Utah beat BYU 81-76 in the 112th meeting. Gibb was 9 of 20, 21 points, 2 points in the first half, 19 in the second half. Yeah. But BYU had 16 turnovers. Gibb had 7. She had 7 turnovers.
She leads the team in points and turnovers, which is the life of a freshman.
And to me, where Utah won this game, they had 18 offensive boards. And that's 29 second chance points on those 18 offensive boards. And if you're BYU, this women's team, you can't let teams in this league have that many more possessions than you have. Yeah. If you turn it over and you give up that many offensive boards, you can't get up enough shots to stay in the game. And that's the problem.
That game was a bummer for them because they had a shot at beating Utah, going toe-to-toe, but too many turnovers.
Yeah, they've combined 35 turnovers in their last 2 games.
Yeah, think about it. You're trying to beat 2 teams that are better than you, and you're going to go, and I'm going to give you 35 extra possessions. 35. That's how you can't beat those teams.
It's not going to happen. That's how you
until
lose.
That number goes down, they're going to have a tough go.
They got to figure out how to be better with the ball. And they've got to me, they've got to be a little more physical and a little more like on the pass. They've got to be more determined with the pass, a little more velocity on the ball, and be confident. Get it out. And then when you're on the receiving end, sometimes it's on the receiving end to come to the basketball and come with strong hands and secure the ball. They've got to play that way. This is a really physical league. We talk about it all the time on the men's side. It's also very physical on the women's side, and you got to be able to play for that and not turn the ball over.
They got to go out and recruit size,
some bigs,
and toughness, and everyone does.
Everybody in this league's got a big, right?
I mean, in the standings, Kansas is 10th in the country. They're number 1. TCU is number 9. So those 2 teams are tied for first. Baylor's in 3rd. They're number 25. Yeah. And BYU's down at number 14
in the league. Yeah.
This week, Colorado's at BYU. Chance to get a win at home Wednesday at 7 Mountain Time, and Arizona State hosts BYU Saturday night at 6:30 Mountain Time. Both those games on ESPN+.
And those are both
BYU
winnable
Radio.
Games for BYU.
They should be, yeah.
Both winnable games for BYU.
I mean, Colorado's 4-4 in the league. Arizona State's 2-7.
Yep, there you go.
But you got to cut the turnovers out.
Yeah,
knock it off.
That's the key. So we've laid out the key. Men's volleyball is 6-2. They're ranked number 5 nationally. They're swept at number 2. UC Irvine 3-2 and 3-0.
I tell you, the Anteaters are good. And they were tough at home.
Yeah. Oh, they're number 2 in the country for a reason.
BYU goes there, gets beat. They stay at number 5. That's how good the Anteaters are.
Do they get them at home later?
No.
They don't. Dang. No. Yeah.
Volleyball's kind of fun. They don't do home and homes but this weekend is a huge one.
Yeah.
Hawaii's number 4. BYU's number 5. Mm-hmm.
But it's in Provo.
7 o'clock Friday and Saturday on BYU TV. Hawaii hasn't been here for a long time. That is must-see in-person
and
stuff.
And it's a big-time rivalry game. It'll be fun. Yeah. So gymnastics is 1-8, 0-2 in the league. Number 5, Utah defeated BYU 196.975 to 195.325.
I asked our friend Jessica Johnson, who is the public address announcer for gymnastics. I said, is that good? Is that close?
Yeah.
Did we almost beat them? And
it seems like it is.
It seems like
196.9 to 195.3.
Hit a three-pointer, you win by 2.
Yeah. No, that's not close.
The scoring is so different in gymnastics, where BYU can be 1-8, they can go to the NCAA tournament because of the individual performances and scores. So Utah continues their dominance over BYU, and I like to think the Cougars are getting closer.
Yeah,
but one was
Utah's a dynasty. We got to give them credit; they're a dynasty in gymnastics. So
they're invested in it. It's worked.
Yeah, BYU has a tri-meet this week: Southern Utah, UC Davis, Friday, 7 o'clock Mountain Time on ESPN+.
Men's golf, the Arizona Collegiate in Tucson. That's next Monday and Tuesday. BYU signee Kihei Akina named to the 2025 U.S. National Junior Team. First up, they'll take on Team Canada April 11th. Golf Channel ranks Akina number 4 in the country, coming out of high school, highest rated golfer in BYU history. And you can see our interview with Coach Bruce Brockbank on wiseguys.com.
He's excited about Akina.
Yeah.
He's very excited.
It's like he's AJ DeManza to the golf
to
team.
Golf. Exactly.
That's what's happening over there.
So more golf, women's golf. The FAU Paradise Invitational in Boca Raton is next Monday through Tuesday. Kerry Roberts is going to come on the show on February 17th.
Looking forward to that. Track and field, the women are at the John Thomas Terrier Classic Friday in Boston. The men are also there, but on Saturday. Coach Ed Eyestone will be on the Wise Guys on February 24th.
So softball, BYU's picked 5th in the Big 12 preseason poll.
You know what? I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Just ahead of Utah, behind 4 teams ranked in the top 20. So for this league to be picked 5th, you're just a little bit out of the top 20. Utility player Lily Owens was named preseason All Big 12. The season opener is UC San Diego Thursday, February 6th down in La Jolla. I was just in San Diego last week. It was
coming up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Make sure you see our interview with Gordon Eakin at wiseguys.com. Just had him on the show.
All right, let's roll out with On This Day, January 27th. We go back to 1556. William I of Orange becomes the Knight of the Order of the Golden Fleece. And you know why that's on there? Because that's the world we used to have.
Yeah.
When that was like a thing.
William the First, like we're talking about the first.
Of Orange.
Of course, of Orange, but yeah.
Can you believe that was like a hip and happening thing on this planet?
So how about 1880?
Let's move closer to us.
Because to me, this is more important to our lives.
Yeah.
1880. Because Thomas Edison, on this day, he patented the electric lamp.
Yeah, we got
them all around. That was kind of big time. Thomas Edison went big time on January 27th in 1880.
He got a lot of things done.
Yeah, he did.
1894, the first college basketball game. Chicago beats Chicago YMCA 19-11. They played a lot of defense.
Can I tell you that? Thank goodness we didn't broadcast that game because I would have been bored on that one. 19-11.
They shooting in a peach basket,
and I don't know how many. Like they maybe only played for 10 minutes. I don't know. How about 1924 speed skater Klaus Thunberg of Finland? He wins 3 gold medals in one day at the France Olympics.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
3 in
awesome.
1 day.
Yeah.
On this day in 1970, the Pittsburgh Steelers picked Terry Bradshaw with the first pick of the NFL draft out of Louisiana Tech. Was that not a great move for them?
That was a great move for them. Terry Bradshaw, one of my favorite players, and he is a great personality, so I love his analysis. 1973. UCLA is going to start something here. They're going to win the first of its record 63 consecutive games.
On this day?
On this day was win 1 of the 63.
On this day in 1976, Laverne and Shirley debuted on ABC.
I think I like Lenny and Squiggy better than Laverne and Shirley. So
they were the spinoff from the Happy Days.
Whenever they would say something negative, like and then slime balls, and then they would open the door. Hello, Lenny and Squiggy. So, 1984. Michael Jackson suffers severe burns while filming a Pepsi commercial for the Super Bowl.
That changed his life.
Yeah, it did.
Eventually led to the end of it.
Yeah, crazy. 84. That was 84.
Trying to special effects with fire and all that stuff, and just that's the way that one went. On this day in 2024, the world's largest cruise ship set sail out of Miami. Icon of the seas, 5 times larger than the Titanic. Capable of 7,600 passengers.
It's like a
so
city.
Last year on this day, the Icon of the Seas set sail.
7,600 passengers.
You know what they don't do anymore? They don't call ships unsinkable anymore. They just go, you know what, let's skip that.
Yeah,
no one needs that.
Because as soon as you do that, you jinx it.
Yeah, no one needs that.
That's like saying
jinx.
this guy's never missed a free throw when you're on the air.
Yeah, sometimes we've done that.
Yeah. And you know what we don't say when Will steps up? We don't say, oh, he's going to make this, even though we think he is.
Yeah, that's right.
So, January 27th, birthdays. 1832, Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland, was born.
1850, Edward Smith. He was the captain of the Titanic, speaking of cruise ships.
He went down with the ship, didn't he?
Yeah.
At least based on the movie, The Titanic. So, 1952, Billy White Shoes Johnson, punt returner of the Houston Oilers, was born.
Remember when he would score a touchdown and do his end zone dance with his knees back and forth? That began the celebration.
Yep.
And then the University of Miami took it to the next level, and that's what got it all put illegal. Yeah. And now, you know what? Now they can do everything.
They're letting them do a little bit more now, even in college.
Should.
Yeah.
I mean, Darius Lassiter busts out a few new moves every time he scores.
Yeah. Yep.
I know where he comes from.
So let's go to January 27th, deaths.
2008.
Yep, 2008. You take it.
On this day, Gordon B. Hinckley, president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, passed away at age 97.
And now Russell M. Nelson is 100.
Yeah, went right past him.
Unbelievable.
Our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week is from President Hinckley.
Yeah. He said, when all is said and done, the greatest satisfaction you'll have in this life as you grow old will be seeing your children grow in righteousness and faith and goodness as citizens of the society of which they are a part. So your greatest joy will be watching your kids grow up and be good people.
And we've got kids that have their own kids.
Yeah.
And that's true. Yeah. We love seeing them be parents and make good choices.
Yeah. And isn't being a grandparent the greatest gig ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like they leave them over at the house.
They think we're cool all the time.
Yeah, and they think you're cool. And our job's only to make them love us. And the kids leave them at the house and they come home and they're like, Dad, they're supposed to go to bed at 8:30. I go like, you know what? That's not my problem.
That's not. No, popsicles.
Yeah.
You know,
I let them eat anything they want. They can stay up as late as they want as long as they love Pops. That's it.
Special thanks to Will Ferrin, Sam Vander Haar, Jimmer Fredette, and Trent Pratt. This was one of our best shows ever.
Yeah. Next week, Wise Guys Super Bowl special with Austin Collie and Dennis Pitta.
That might be our best show ever.
Back-to-back great shows.
Hey, and if you really want to get yourself grossed out, go back and listen to that interview with Jimmer on the 5 things he did eat and the 5 things he wouldn't eat.
Yeah, it's like
during his international travel. I might write about that in the Deseret News. I don't know if people are ready for it. You know, hearing it's one thing, reading it's another.
I just can't get a Ziploc bag full of raw cow brains on the train.
To go.
On the train.
To-go bag.
And they eat it with like rubber gloves on.
Listen, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to revisit that.
I'm ready to watch that, to see that, to smell that. I'm certainly not ready to eat that.
Here's where you can find us this week. Blaine's on the pre- and post-game show tomorrow night on BYU TV and ESPN Plus. And you can read my stuff in the Deseret News all week long.
There you go.
Wise Guys presented by BradyPlus, distributed by the Deseret News. Thank you so much. And you know what? Football season never ends on this show. And we hope next week, in addition to our Super Bowl preview, that we can roll out the Big 12 football schedule. They're now the last to announce their schedule. You think we'll get it for next week?
I hope we get it for next week.
It's in February.
By the way, Michael Zimmerman, on a cool note, one of my mission companions' grandfather was the captain of the Titanic.
Wow.
See, the world is just small these days. It's just small.
It just gets smaller and smaller.
So, and thanks, Michael. We love you too. We love all of you. Thanks for being on the show with us. We'll see you next week.